After what feels about, a year, a lifetime, it is finally time for the Stanley Cup Final. We're considering that when I was a kid, the final would be wrapped up at around this time. But either way, welcome back to The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke. Voted 4-time the best dive bar in all the GTA, but you already knew that. You already love us. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name's Cruz. How you doing, buddy?
Good. A lot less hungover this week. Saw a Blue Jays game on, what would that have been, Monday, Tuesday, whenever Gosman pitched.
Yeah, the one that, dun.
That would have been Monday.
Yeah. I wanted to go down too, but I'm waiting to go to a whole series. I'm not.
You got the bobblehead, so that was a good thing.
That's the very good thing, and we got a split, but we'll talk about that later. Because just considering what's going on down at the Dome these days, whether they open or not, it was open when you were there, though, right?
It was open, thankfully. The last 2 games I went there was open, which was nice.
Which is because that's the baseball experience in Toronto. Remember that? How was your week
Not
otherwise?
Just watching the Dome open and close.
That's for the tourists. You know that?
And the kids.
Of course it is, yes.
Overall, a good week, though. Happy it's the weekend, of course. F1, French Open Finals, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final.
And, can I tell the truth? I'm still trying to adjust to this thing called retirement.
Why is that?
I got a lot of time on my hands, and I do a lot of stuff, and then I find out I'm doing nothing. My garden's looking good. I'm working on some long-term things for the show, extra stuff. And the next thing I know, it's 4 PM and I'm stoned out of my mind. I don't know how that happened.
I can't. Once the joint enters my mouth, productivity goes out the window.
I'm the opposite. I just start
really?
buzzing around doing shit. I don't know why, running with my dog who got away. Once again, Stanley, don't run away. It's a bitch catching him.
Stanley, stay with Papa.
Yes, it is. I want to do a big shout out once again, and I'm going to say this. Who has seen Zeppology more than Cruz? Nobody. Once again, I've seen them for the umpteenth time at the Rock Pile, one of the worst venues in the GTA, by the way.
You mentioned last week.
Gouging mofos, $13 for a beer. Come on, stop it. But anyway, the performance was outstanding. Each and every guy, Gary, Nello, Tim, Elliot, you guys were great. The energy in the room was outstanding. I hope it's not too long. I hope it's in the next 90 days. I see you again. And I'm going to drag along Milani this time when I come to see you.
Hell yeah. Love to go see Zeppology.
Yeah, they'll be good. They get good reviews, even from your neck of the woods, I hear.
Yes, one of my buddies, Marco Giovanetti, gave a shout out, who's actually engaged now. Oh my God. Congratulations to Marco and Stelcy. I nearly forgot.
Oh, that's a good thing. And not only that, he's a music guy. So we'll have a chat one day.
Major music guy. You'll have to meet him one day.
100,000%.
He's a Bruins fan, though.
You didn't have to tell me that. Marco, I just changed my, you know what I mean? I got to have to draw a line in the sand. We'll talk over the fence. How's that?
Okay, that works for me.
I have to do a big shout out to our boys, the San Francisco Sluggers, who won a doubleheader last Tuesday night. Not only that, we were down 7-0 in the second game, stormed back, won the game. What was it, 11-8? We did not give up another run for the rest of the game.
All that without a rover.
We had some rover moments, guys. BOH, the guys that knocked it over your head in the gap to go up by 6. However, Pedro, outstanding on the mound, our pitcher. He was really, really good. The guys were focused. We want to call it the Anthony lineup game. And if you don't know who Anthony is, Anthony knows everything and nothing about baseball, and he's happy to tell you that. Okay, it's great because his enthusiasm is insane, and he's probably the team leader in RBIs.
Shout out.
So we had a big rap last week about how the lineup should go, and the only thing that got kind of weird is because I hit in front of my son. Or after my son? No, I hit in front of my son, yeah. And didn't do well all the time. But it was an interesting lineup, and it did work, and we did score, and everybody was out there. The thing is to stay focused, and we have a chance because our record is now 5-2-1.
Wow.
By the mid-season point, they may move us up into another league, which is a great debate amongst us team guys. But if that's better competition, let's go for it.
Sure.
Good job, guys. Tuesday night, late game. Let's go get them.
Shout out San Fran Sluggers. Anything else you'd like to shout out?
Well, we got a melancholy thing to say about a young man named Drew Gordon who was played sporadically for the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. He's played a long time in Europe, was a big star at UCLA. Unfortunately, at 33 years old, got into an autocycle accident. God bless his family. Condolences to everyone concerned.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to shout out?
I can't think of anything at the moment. I know I'm missing something, but it's going to come to me along the way, and I'll just blurt it out when I get there. How does that sound? You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
And thank all the people. We're always at this show, but I know you're listening out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you may not be batting leadoff for your team anymore, but batting leadoff for our show today will be Formula One. It's, of course, Canadian Grand Prix weekend in Montreal, the man-made island that was originally made for Expo 67. Fun fact.
Oh, yeah, but we don't talk about Expo 67 because you know it is one of the biggest financial fiascos and corrupt endeavors in the history of our country.
We'll move on past that then.
Thank you. Anyways, I'm glad they put on the island.
For the spot, they had a spot there for the Stanley Cup, but a team from down the 401 might have stole it that year.
Okay, well, yeah, things happen. Okay, things happen. Anyways, we should do a shout out because it's probably the biggest party in the country in the year, right?
It absolutely is.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, as you've seen in qualifying yesterday, practice yesterday, things are a mess.
Oh, cars slipping and sliding and.
I don't know what the weather report is today, but I heard tomorrow at game time it's supposed to be, flag time, it's supposed to be somewhat rainy. There might be a delay. I hope not.
If it's a little bit of if it's like a torrential downpour, that's a problem. But a little bit of rain, that could add a little bit of a fun wrinkle to it. I don't mind a wet race once in a while, as long as it's not ridiculous.
I'm looking forward to the qualifying this afternoon.
4:00.
I know, and not only that, but this is a cool track.
I love this track. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah. Only because it's got the openings. Like there's lots of places to maneuver. So I guess
tons of places to pass.
And tons of places to pass, which is really cool because the designers of that track, apparently back in the day, maybe you can help me out, when I read a little about it, they looked at the things at some of the tracks that were made and said, no, we want this, this, and this.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Something like that. And anyway, it's turned out to be, it should be a very good race, especially when we're looking at the standings.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we have a stark difference in standings from, say, 1 year ago today, don't you think?
Absolutely. This time last year, Red Bull was not only running away with the constructors, but Verstappen was running away with the drivers' championship as well. Now he's only, 31 points ahead of Leclerc for the drivers, and then Red Bull's only 24 points ahead of Ferrari for constructors. So
this could
wide
be
open.
Yes. You know what I mean? And it gets away, once again, from what we were saying when people say, F1 gets boring if one team wins all the time. Well, it doesn't always work that way in any sport. We know that. What we should reflect on, though, is when we get down the road 2, 3, 10 years from now, we're going to look at the 2023 season as the pinnacle of a race season for a team and a driver.
Oh, sure.
Because there's no way. Like Max himself said, I can't do, and he can't repeat already because there's already too many races have gone by, correct?
Yeah.
So he could not win as many as last year, which was not expected.
Well, yeah, because Leclerc's got to win, Norris has got to win, and Sainz has got to win. So last year, Red Bull won all but one race.
To now.
Yeah.
At this point.
No, the whole season.
Wow.
Because Verstappen won, 22 races last year? Verstappen won 19, then Perez won 2. And then Sainz won the other one.
Yeah.
The only non-Red Bull win.
Wow. Anyways, it's going to be like coming out of this weekend, we could have a whole new standings or.
Red Bull and Verstappen should still be ahead, but their lead might be significantly less.
I think their car on this track, they should get a placement from Perez today. Like, what's he doing? Both of those cars should be.
We'll see.
Be there.
He should be motivated, especially after last race. But
I
know he's a bit of a wild card. I'm surprised they signed him to a 2-year extension.
Were you?
That seemed. I don't know. Is he really the best driver for the CDs? But I feel like we've seen the best from him already.
Well, maybe it's just because he gets along with Verstappen.
That's definitely a reason.
But
I think it's a case of them getting a little bit too comfortable.
I'm just thinking of my boy Zach Brown and the Williams team. What's going to happen? McLaren this weekend. I think they can make a move.
Why not?
What if their 2 cars get in there? Because you know what I mean? They're a bit of I'm liking them more because they're not, they're a bit of an underdog. You know what they remind me of a bit? Remember when Manchester City was nothing?
Oh.
And then all of a sudden they got new ownership and then all of a sudden new money and now they became Manchester City? Maybe McLaren can be going back in that direction, don't you think?
Well, I think they certainly hope so. They were one of the powerhouses, back
in the day.
Yeah, When I was a kid, it was Ferrari, McLaren, Williams. Those were the big boys.
Do you think it's going to make a difference for them when they change the rules in 2026 to their advantage? I mean, Zach Brown's cackled about the differences and the competitive disadvantages other people have been using that probably not other people have exposed to.
I mean, it's so hard to say about who's going to look good going into the next regulation set.
Okay, anyways, you should explain a little bit about the changes we were talking about because I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the race. Cool show, by the way.
Yeah. So basically the regulation changes for 2026 were now officially announced. So obviously the cars are going to be more narrow. They're going to be shorter. The wheels are going to be narrow this time around. More narrow, I should say. They're going to be lighter. They will be getting rid of DRS, which I think is interesting, but they will be replacing it with what they're calling active aero. So it's active aerodynamics. So the front wings and back wings will actually kind of like move and shift.
Yeah.
You'll have certain spots on the track you can use it. To my knowledge, it's going to be, unlike DRS, you don't have to be like within a second. It's just going to be on certain spots on the track. If you're there, you could just use it.
Okay.
And to kind of like balance that out, because if everyone's using it, there's going to be no passing. So what they're going to do is add a system like they have in IndyCar where you can push a button and it gives you some extra battery power. But that's going to be limited. Like you'll only have like a certain amount of, like let's say like you'll be able to use like 90 seconds of it per race or something.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So yeah, the active aero, it's going to be X mode and Z mode. So X mode is going to be, they're going to kind of like lower the wings. You'll be faster on the straight. And then Z mode, it's going to be the regular one where it's going to make you, quicker in the corners.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, X mode and Z mode. Sounds like we're naming these after like Star Wars ships now or something. But
that's how these cars are built. That's
true.
going to be a lot going into the design of these cars. The restructuring should be quite interesting. But I bet you guys are already in the garage formulating the
well, you're technically not allowed to start working on it until I think a year out or something. So we're still a little bit away. But obviously they're working up some ideas behind the scenes. Put it that way.
Come on, of course they are. This is.
But you can't start physically building the car until January of next year.
I wonder who the monitors are.
That people at Formula One, they can audit you at any time.
Okay.
So.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, we hope the race goes off without any hitches.
Absolutely.
And I hope the weather is going to be good.
And one more thing I want to say about the changes is it's also going to be a 50-50 split between the power of the electric engine and like the gas engine, basically. Because right now it's an 80-20 split. So
now it's going to be 50-50?
50-50 split.
That's going to be interesting. Well,
more torque, so I imagine these cars are going to be faster at the takeoff. Should be fun.
Yeah. Anything.
Although it sounds like F1, they want to eventually move away from electric and have like a zero-emission fuels. I know Porsche is working on that, so I think they want to.
I heard that too, because in the long run, it's going to be for better racing. We'll probably end up with more problems with electricity.
It's not sustainable to have all these cars with batteries.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's worse than gas.
That's what. I didn't want to go there. We're not.
Go there.
We're not an environmental show just yet. All right.
Well, I mean, it's just what makes sense.
Oh, I hear you loud and clear. It's like it's in society as it's working every day. We should be talking about it like that. I can't wait because there'll be the arbitrators of that in a lot of field of driving cars when you think about it.
Sure.
Anything else you want to say about the race? Just hope it goes off without any, and we had a good, clean race.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean? And usually Montreal are fun races. You know what I mean?
Yep. We'll move this along to the French Open. It's been quite the tournament, quite the major. Shout out to Iga Swiatek winning her 5th major just this morning against Paolini, the 12th seeded Italian. Swiatek, it's her 5th major, her 4th French Open now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that makes her the prohibitive clay court special. Just one again, when she played Goff in the semifinals, I was very surprised to know that their head-to-head matchup is 10-1 in favor of Swiatek. That blew my mind. Now, I remember she's a few years older, and this is on clay where she's won most of the time. And I don't think that Swiatek's going to come to North America and start kicking ass, or maybe at Wimbledon, even though she's had a run there, so to speak.
Well, she does have a U.S. Open.
But I mean, at Wimbledon, she's had a run. But in any event, it's the rising stars that come underneath it, because they're always saying in sports, don't you need personalities to sell the game? It was interesting. What's her name again? Andrea Zarev, 17 years old, made it to the semifinals. Now, she did beat Sabalenka, who was a number 2 seed. And it was obvious that Sabalenka was having some physicality problems, sickness or whatever the case may be. But it doesn't matter on that given day. 17-year-old win is big for the game. You know what I mean? Everyone's got the attention. And not only that, when they got to the quarterfinals, 5 of the 8 women's seeds made it to the quarterfinals, which makes it even like the draw was good.
Oh, even for the men's, it was like they were all top 11 seeds that made it to the quarters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's another a good sign of like the draw was good, the draw was accurate, and the competition was great. You know what I mean? The girls put on a very good show. What was the final today, anyways?
I believe it was 6-2, 6-3.
Yeah, like it was
check.
Mr. Paolini, whatever her name is, who's been around for quite some time.
6-2, 6-1, excuse me.
Oh, I knew it was going to be a beating. This girl didn't have a chance. Paolini is her name? Paolini, yeah. She's 28 years old. She looks 18.
Yeah, she does look incredible for her age.
You know what I mean? And it's great because I think this is her first major final of her career.
I believe so.
You know, good luck to her. But in any event, one of the great matches of the tournament we just seen in the men's semifinals was your Italian brethren against Alcaraz.
Yeah, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz.
That's going to be a rivalry.
Yeah.
They don't even look like they like each other. You see them playing against each other? They're scowling and
come on, Italian versus a Spaniard for the French Open. Come on.
Oh, the competition level is very, very great match.
And these two guys, I can guarantee you, grew up playing on clay.
100%. Oh yeah. So
actually, my buddy who came back from he had his honeymoon in Spain. He's like he saw a bunch of clay tennis courts there.
Oh yeah, they're dominant, especially in southern Spain because of the weather or whatever the case may be. But it was a great match. Alcaraz broke through, and I guess I don't want to know because the final is going on as we speak. Or it
men's
could be
finals tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow, right? Yeah, okay. And we also got the German
8:30 a.m.
The German's in there too, isn't he?
Yeah, Zverev beat Ruud. He dropped the first set, but then won the next 3, 6-2, 6-4, 6-2.
And not only that, this is his, I think, second final and fourth semifinal.
Still looking for that first Grand Slam, though.
This could be the time. It's going to be a great match.
Well, Carlos is going to be the heavy favorite here.
Oh, 100%. But I'm like the way this guy's come through. He hasn't lost. He's played less tennis, except for the last 2 rounds, than Alcaraz has played, which they say, especially after that tiring set he just had. Yeah. Well, we're going to have to wait and see. Anyways, I'm telling people, if you're up at 8:30 tomorrow, take a look. It's going to be a great match.
Yeah, and Carlos, if he wins tomorrow, he will be the youngest player to win a slam on all 3 surfaces.
Wow. That's huge.
He's got the U.S. and he's got Wimbledon already.
Yes, and he's what, 19, 20? Just turned 20.
I believe he's just turned 20.
Amazing. It's nice to
21. You just turned 21. Excuse me.
We should always be able to say, look at greatness, people. You know what I mean? When the sports team, that's why we do the things that we're doing right now, so we can talk about greatness. Anyways, I hope another thing we want to see is a great match.
Yeah.
Hope it's not a blowout like the women's final.
Speaking of greatness, Novak Djokovic had to bow out. Did not play in his quarterfinal matchup against Casper Ruud.
Oh, boo.
Went for surgery, so he'll likely miss Wimbledon. Though he's hoping. I guess he hasn't said this, but I mean, there's a lot of speculation that he's hoping to be back in time for the Olympics because that's the one thing he's missing. He doesn't have that gold medal.
Oh, yeah, and I heard that's huge. That's one of the reasons he's been staying hot on the tour. It's too bad. He had a couple of tough matches, too. Like, I mean, guys are going at him, and Djokovic's not the premier clay court player ever. He never was, but, I mean, he was competitive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I wonder if that on that dirt at his age, is that probably one of the reasons that because he did a couple of weird falls. If you had seen the match when he had been playing. So anyways, good luck to his recovery because there's a master of the game. He just passed Federer for the most games won in majors all times.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a wow. Definitely.
An incredible career. The most Grand Slams of any man.
You're going to be on the Pantheon. You're going to be on Mount Rushmore.
He's already there. We'll move this on from tennis to golf. It has been a year since the PGA and LIV Golf announced their team up.
Really?
Which has led to nothing.
Really? Okay.
LIV is still poaching players. John Rahm, of course, famously got poached after this announcement.
Okay,
so what does this mean?
Okay, it means this, okay? They're all bullshitting us, okay?
LIV and PGA.
They're both bullshitting us because guess what? There's a little factor I did not know about this whole game, and that's why it's not coming together, in my opinion. Okay. This is strictly my opinion, okay? They all came to the table and said, let's break bread. However, when they got to the table, someone's loaf was bigger than the other guys, okay? That's basically what down. So then they said, how do we split the loaf? Well, they can't figure out how to do that. When you want to tell guys to come together and you've already handed somebody 300 sheets, how do you validate that with the guy that might make $20 million in earnings if he runs a PGA Tour? So there's no middle ground on this, in my opinion. I think what's going to break the ice is, and I did not realize this, is that these contracts with LIV are only 3 years old. So this time next year...
Well, they're 3-year deals, you mean?
3-year deals.
Yeah.
So this time next year, those deals will be over. Okay? So what's going to happen
Not for Jon Rahm, though.
No, he'll have to wait the extra year.
Yeah.
But I think a guy like Brooks Koepka, I'm predicting, will come back to the tour. The question is, which you've already asked, is how acceptable will that be to all the other guys on the tour?
Yeah, because I know during our pre-production meeting, you said the PGA would welcome them back with open arms. I'm not so sure.
I've been thinking about it since I said that, and I'm going, I don't know, because you know what, the fans are screaming for it. The TVs are rating. Because when do you see LIV on TV? When do you see those guys?
I know CHCH shows it, but like I can't imagine their ratings are.
No, and you watch it, it looks...
You can catch it on like Facebook. It's readily available. I don't know anyone that watches it though.
No, because it's just the format, the way they go about it. And I mentioned to you off the air too. I said, like, me, the music junkie, the one place I don't want music is on the court because I'm supposed to be focused and concentrating. I don't want to hear Back in Black just as I'm ripping a tee.
I can deal with music on the tennis court, but not on the golf range.
No. It just doesn't work that way. So I think the intangible is going to be this. When their contracts expire, okay, how much money can you spend? How much money do you need? Okay, now I can see DJ staying over there because Paulina said she likes the schedule and she likes the coin. So what are they going to do? The Saudis going to re-up these guys?
I guess.
See, that's the question is now, a lot of these guys on the tour, like now you can trade teams. It's like your team, you can trade players.
Well, who cares?
Of course. It's just asinine the way they're going about it because it's not.
Do you think anyone's complaining? Oh, no, I got traded to the Crushers.
Yeah.
Ruined my day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just sounds so ridiculous, but what justifies the legacy of golf is 72 holes, the majors, and the advanced like the Memorial and those type of tournaments, the players.
Not 54 holes playing in shorts and blasting some AC/DC.
In the sand.
In the sand.
In the sand. And you're playing generic, what would they call it? I wouldn't say generic, but designer courses made in the Middle East. And what do they have? They have an event in Vegas, and they have an event in California.
Well, still most of the events are in the States, though, are they not?
I think it's about 50-50.
Is it now?
Yeah, something like that, because they got to play.
I thought they only had to make like a handful of appearances in Saudi Arabia per season.
I'm going to look that up, because I know they
I thought it was only like 2 or 3.
Really?
Yeah, I thought, from my understanding, I still thought the vast majority of the courses.
And how many
were still in the
how
States.
many events is there? Do we even know on the LIV Tour?
I mean, I'm
24 is it or something? We'll find out. You know why we don't care? Because we're not watching the golf. Because it's not the highest level of competition.
No.
Okay, so now look back last week at the Canadian Open. We had a really good field, okay? Except for sometimes the pressure of things must get to people because our buddy Nick Taylor, defending champion, didn't even make the cut. However, 8 Canadians did. Just made it a good showing. All the top players. It was going down to the finish. And the interesting part about it is Robbie McIntyre from Scotland, with his father on the bag,
As this caddy, yeah.
wins his first tournament in North America, which is amazing.
That's very cool.
Right here in Canada. Shout out to the people in Ancaster, or the Hamilton Open, or we're going to call it, because the reviews everywhere were insane, even on the people on the Golf Channel.
Showing up through the weather, through the rain.
Almost broke the record, even though the weather impeded that opportunity. But I think that course is going to stay in the rotation. Like, they're going to take it, because remember, it was always at Glen Abbey all the time. But now
I used to wear a Glen Abbey hat that my dad gave me all the time.
Okay, there you go. So they said, but the people, a lot of players don't like the Abbey because it's too hard, they say.
I've heard that.
That's what I'm going. But all these other courses are kind of cool, like where they had it in Etobicoke last year.
Oh, yeah.
And here, like these courses and the crowds on it. And we show well to the world. Enthusiasm as Canadians, and we're supposed to be so polite, but you hear us when we're on the golf course.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty good. We did a good show. I thought the most interesting thing about this Mr. McIntyre is, upon winning the Canadian Open, he now qualified for the Memorial, the U.S. Open, and the Travelers Checks, I believe, tournament, which are the next 3, which are all elevated money events due to the fact that they're competing with LIV. But he preferred to take Dad home, go back to Scotland, drink Chivas Regals with his buddies, and celebrate the victory, which I think is kind of cool.
Sure.
You think he'll regret it in about 10 years?
Maybe so.
But I call that the ultimate being in the moment. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. The fact that the guy's going back there to just yahoo with his boys. You know what I mean? Like someone said his agent should have stepped in and said, you know what you're doing? And I would have said, fuck you, agent. You want more money? If I don't play, you don't get paid. So what does it matter? I got my bag, right? Screw agents anyway. But it's interesting, which brings us to...
Well, like we said, maybe he does regret this in 10 years.
Yeah, because a lot of money left on the table. A lot of money on the table. And people leave money
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, leaving $750,000 on the table because he didn't show up. And he didn't have to. Let's get that straight.
Sure.
He didn't have to. But if he showed up for everything, all the OTAs, he'd get a $750,000 bonus. Lamar threw that on the ground. You know, I guess that's where he said he's taking more time to lose weight, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, big shout out to Mr. McIntyre. We got a great field at the Memorial going this afternoon on Move Day. If you look at the top of the leaderboard, I think it's 6 of the top 10 players on the PGA Tour are on a leaderboard. Should be a great thing. And I love golf.
Should be a great showing. Shout out to the Memorial.
Do you think before we go, anybody out there, because you guys, I know they got more golf people than you know, if you put your 2 cents in, and I'm going to research this a little bit more, but I don't think anything's going to change until some of those contracts expire with LIV and see what happens. Because how do you balance the table now?
You can't.
Rory turned down $500 million, I heard.
Oh, yeah. The number was out there.
Yeah, it was like $500 million, and he didn't go for the integrity of the game. Do you think he's going to regret that in 10 years?
It doesn't seem like he does.
Nah, he's got too much money.
I think he's doing fine.
Now that he's single.
Hey. We will move this along to the WNBA in a little segment we will call
What is this?
We call this Caitlyn Clark Watch.
Yes, or the Caitlyn Clark Report.
The Caitlyn Clark Report, sure.
Welcome to the house that happens, where we have a weekly summons where we put to the people what is going on in the world of the one and only Caitlyn Clark. Do you know who she is?
I believe I know who she is, yes.
First and foremost, can we just say this thing about Caitlyn Clark, and this is what greatness does. She's a household name.
Oh, 100%.
So she's
been for a year.
Okay, but now it's been exponentially going higher by the second.
Oh, yeah. Now that she's in the show.
Now that she's in the show. So let's discuss, first of all, what we should be watching about Caitlyn Clark when she's playing in the show. Can I give a little thing before we get on here?
Yeah, give us your list.
Number 1, she's the first overall pick.
Agreed.
In the WNBA, which we've mentioned before, on a shit team, okay, because that's why she's the number 1 pick overall, okay, and she's playing against seasoned veterans who've been in the WNBA for a few years, correct?
Some a decade.
Yes, okay, so what we should be looking at is how is Caitlyn Clark's performance on the court? Well, let me tell you, she's a turnover machine. She needs a little better footwork on the defensive end. She's a trash talker like everybody else. Remember her father yelling at her to shut up during the thing? So to think that she's any kind of a wallflower, you're out of your mind. So she's barking and looking for a ref's call just as good as anybody else. What else are we looking at? Oh, where's her place in the scoring? She's about, almost top 10 in the league in scoring. She's improved every game. She had her first 30-point night. Okay? Mm-hmm. She is top 5 in the league in assists. And not only that, she's been grabbing rebounds a little bit more as the game is going on. However, the turnover situation and her feet work and spacing have to be worked at. Yeah. And isn't that the element of the game that we should be looking at? Her performance on the court.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's how I'm trying to look at the game. However, there's some factors that have changed the way that people have looked at this game, and there's been a lot of bitching about how it's been going on. Speaking about the word bitch, I think that was very cool that Pat McAfee apologized for using the B word, Caitlyn and Clark in the same sentence. However, even though he took backlash online, please go back and see how he put it into context.
The context, yeah.
Yes. And as everybody knows now, the Caitlyn Clark crew was quite content with Mr. McAfee because, by the way, where does he broadcast his show from?
Indiana.
Who was the first person to have Caitlyn Clark on a show nationally on a sports level of that big?
That would have been Pat McAfee.
That would have been Pat McAfee. So let's just get away from that aspect of him making mistakes, because I do that on the air. Remember,
Sure.
Andrew, we were saying we got to remember how we say things because people interpret it differently, but that's a story for another day.
Well, he's one of the biggest sports shows, if not the biggest sports show on TV right now. So
there you go.
You have to be careful with your language.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
And he says he's not the most eloquent person going. His
No.
apology was, yeah, he's never going to know that. In his diction and a few other things, he's the first to admit it. However, his apology was heartfelt and very meaningful. Like, you could tell, like, hey, man,
Sure.
I learned a lesson here. That was the number one thing. But let's continue on from here. I don't care if people are saying about, what the big saying about what tide raises all boats and everything. Let's get down to some brass tacks
Tony
here.
Kornheiser.
Yes, okay, and I love that. Okay, so let's just say, look at it from this way. When Caitlyn Clark plays a game, the average attendance has been about 14,000. Oh, by the way, 17,000 showed up in Washington the other night when Indiana won that tight game where she sunk the three-pointer at the end and the 30-point game in front of 17,500.
Yeah, like even like the Indiana crowd, it's up like
they're
400% this
Oh
season.
yeah. And not only that, that's what balances it, because sometimes she's out of town, she might only get 10 or 12, but the 17, 16 that keeps showing up in Indiana, she's been averaging about, 15,000 a game.
She's a legit draw.
Okay. So do you know what the average attendance is for the rest of the average games in the WNBA?
I think they've gone up like 10%, if I recall.
So if they get 7,500 people in the building when Caitlyn Clark's not in the building, supposedly they're having a good game. So if she's attracting almost double the amount of eyes to the game that they normally get, why are people giving this girl such a hard time?
That would be the J word, jealousy.
Okay, and what about the R word?
Don't make me say. I got one word in my head. I don't know if I should say it.
Okay, in any event.
Is it that word?
Yes, it is. Okay, so.
Stupid, put it that way.
Yes, okay, so now we've gotten here again, okay? So let's just discuss the true facts here, okay? When I was young and I was growing up, as you can see, I'm a mixed racial guy. Okay, my dad was as black as night and my mom was as white as the driven snow, so to speak. However, as you see from my appearance, I identify as a black person. Nobody's ever called me whitey, okay? The point being is this. My father used to say to me, whoever I was hanging out, this, that, and the other thing, groups of people, bringing different people home, he would always say, remind yourself, being identified as a black man, that there's this little thing that's never going to go away, and it's called racism. He says, you might walk down the street for 10 blocks, and it'll be as clear as day, sunny skies, everything's wonderful. Take a left turn. Oh, look at that. Johnny Racism has shown its face again. The problem with the Caitlyn Clark thing is now it's being drawn upon racial lines. And in 2024, God bless America, Black Lives Matter, woke nation, and we're all equal. How in the hell has this happened?
Well, woke nation believes that you can't be racist towards white people.
What? What?
That's a legitimate view out there.
Okay, so let's stop talking about ridiculous things like critical race theory and Stephen A. Smith being the arbitrator of all things race in America.
Yuck.
This is ridiculous, bro. This is absolutely ridiculous. It goes back to the days like when in the 70s we were always looking for a great white hope. I thought that stuff got past. Like, I thought we were done with that. You know what I mean? I thought the evolution of time has said we should be putting this racism on the back and be very glad that the quality of the women's game has gotten to a point where we're watching the Angel Reeses, where we're watching the, what's her name? Tarasova or whatever.
Diana Taurasi?
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the girls that have come before her, even our nurse here in Canada, you know what I'm saying? But when you have things going on, like that blatant freaking block, cross-check in the game.
By Kennedy Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Who, by the way, we would not even know her name if it wasn't for this.
Thank you very much. And who was on the sidelines cheering for this?
I believe that was Angel Reese.
Really? Okay, so let's get to Angel for a second. Listen, There's two things, and what's the second round pick? We know her name and her stupid statement, so I want to get them both in here so it won't be a black or white thing. First of all, Angela Reese, you do look...
Angel Reese,
you do look racist in this situation, you know what I mean? And you're crying because you're going to say everybody's going to look at you for certain situations that look ghetto at a time when you were being ghetto. So, sorry, you made your bed, you lie in it, so I can't feel sorry for you. On the other hand, what's the other girl's name? Plimka or whatever? She can't be saying ridiculous things like, well, it's inherently better for me because I'm white. Because what are we doing? We're drawing the other line.
Yeah.
It just makes it ridiculous. So now what we're doing is we're having a girl, we talked about this last week, who is bringing more eyeballs, more money, better situations, better facilities to your game, and you're going to hate on her? Now, when you come into the league as any rookie, I don't think you should get any special treatment for your play on the court, okay? You earn your markings on the field, whether who you are.
But that goes both ways.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So let's just judge her for the on-court product she is bringing to the table, and let's start eliminating what they're saying on The View.
Hell yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it. My wife is hearing about this on shows like TMZ. You know what I mean? That's not what sports is all about. Sports is about competition on a fair, level playing field, regardless of race, color, creed, or gender, correct?
Yeah. There's a weird thing going on, though, where, like, Caitlyn Clark, she's, like, living in Angel Reese's and Trinity Carter's head rent-free here. Like, Angel says we're watching because of her, too. We're really not, Angel. We're really not. Are you just so insecure that you can't handle a girl balling out harder than you, getting some more headlines now, but doesn't get back to the most important thing, the game? Then everyone will move on, because if we don't get past this, everyone will move on, because a little drama isn't much to chew on. We created great games played by the best athletes on the planet, so shut the fuck up. That's not you that everyone came to see, and just do your job. You know, it's not like a political thing here, so it's not exactly a shut up and ball thing. This isn't about politics or, God forbid, something that's important. This is your own petty little squabbles. Grow up and get on the same page, or else you'll be flying on planes with the rest of us.
Damn, bro, well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. It is not a sin in 2024. This is where we're at. Yeah. It just makes me go, really?
Finally, the WNBA gets some attention. The girls are sabotaging it themselves.
I cannot believe it. I hope it changes soon. Like one of the things that you said there, if the level of competition gets better down the road, maybe this is just a footnote.
Maybe.
And then we can erase all the stupidity. We won't forget what people have said. Let's put that.
Oh, no. People remember.
I'm going to keep some receipts. So when we get down the road and suddenly somebody changes or suddenly somebody becomes like a chameleon, and I don't believe in chameleons. You know what I'm saying? In any event, we will keep the Caitlyn Clark report alive and well, but here in the house it happens. You heard what my buddy Milani just said, and we're going to keep that close to the vest.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Agreed. Yeah, or else, like, I don't know. If this keeps going this way, the commissioner's going to have to get involved and just sit everyone down and be like, hey, guys, cut the shit.
And you know what? It's poured over into the public, you know what I mean? It's become water cooler talk or talk at the table. It's spilled over onto, like, mainstream media. Like, they're talking about it on late night on talk shows. Like, The View had an argument about it. And people were on both sides of the fence concerning the matter, which made it more disgusting for me because I thought they should be trying to bring this all together. And last time
Well, that's not good content.
Oh, okay. So
that's how they think of it.
Okay, last time I looked at The View, there's a bunch of bitches on that panel, isn't there? Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. There's a bunch of women. Use it for them. Okay. There's a bunch of women on that panel.
Yeah, like what, 4 or 5 of them?
Well, I guess. Whatever it is. I don't watch a show. I try to walk by their living room as fast as I can when the wife's watching that kind of nonsense. But it doesn't do anything for the fabric of society.
No.
That's the part that irritates me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just tears more, like pulling that one thread on the sweater, so to speak. Yeah. All because of what? A white girl playing basketball? Insane.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I really thought we'd be past this by now.
100%.
We'll move this on to the Memorial Cup. Congratulations to Saginaw, the Spirit beating London in a crazy back-and-forth affair. Looked like London was going to come back, but Saginaw finishing the job. Owen Beck, Habs prospect,
Thank
MVP.
you.
Saginaw, the first American OHL team to win the Memorial Cup.
That blew my mind.
That blew my mind, too.
When you told me that, I thought like about the Plymouth team,
Detroit,
Erie,
some good teams back in the day.
the Erie Otters.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And none of those teams, God bless Saginaw. And of course, they're in Michigan. Big shout out, Michigan shout out. I love doing that any opportunity I can get. However, there was a little bit of a diss in this when your boy, Toronto Maple Leafs prospect, you told me, did not get any mention.
Yeah, led the tournament in points, but was not named to the media all-star team or whatever.
Huh? What?
But
I'm not saying that the London Knights are not liked. Yes, I am. That sounds like a media diss, though, doesn't it?
Or whoever did. I don't know if it was media. I forgot. But
I noticed him every game. Every game he played in, I noticed. And I did notice our Owen Beck guy, too. And there's a couple defensemen on both sides, big boys, that they're going to be in the NHL in the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Okay. And in any event, great Memorial Cup. Congratulations to Saginaw.
Congratulations. And after all this talk about you dissing the host teams, they pulled it off.
I know that. That's kind of interesting. But
they were the only team to beat London any game in the OHL playoffs. So they took two, and then they beat them when it mattered the most.
Exactly. I just want to say one thing. I'm glad for Saginaw, Michigan. But if the Memorial comes back to Canada next year as quick as possible, I'm happy with that too.
Well, it rotates by which league, so I don't know if it's the West or the Q. The Q doesn't have any American teams, so.
Yeah, but I'm always hoping like those cups. Winning in Canada is good. You know, that's all I'm saying. But congratulations to Saginaw.
A little foreshadowing for later. We'll see.
I hope.
We'll do a quick little checkup on TFC. They drew at DC United. Still sixth place in the East, getting ready for international break because right around the corner, Euro 2024 and the 2024 Copa America.
Yes, sirree. Now, we're going to do a better review on Euro next week just before the tournament because I got to brief up on it. So all my Croatian friends out there, I'm starting to jump on your bandwagon once again because that's what I do when it comes to these tournaments. Not that I'm well versed in any of it, but I do like to catch on. And once again, it's a high level of competition. Should be good. But for today, we're going to talk about Copa America. And as we were talking before we got on air, I'm saying that if Canada gets to the knockout round,
miracle.
Yeah, I don't think it's a miracle. We could, but
they're in a tough group: Argentina, Peru, and Chile.
So I'm saying that we have to beat Peru. That's the game.
And Chile.
Or at least tie.
You want to win to guarantee it.
That's right. Because nobody's in. I mean, Chile's going to go after Argentina. We know that. That's just the way they are because they're always that Central America.
Argentina's going to be heavily favored to win the group,
no.
If they don't come out with 9 points, I'd be very shocked.
Me too. And not only that, they're one of the favorites for the whole thing.
Of course, they're defending World Cup champs.
That's what I'm saying. So why wouldn't they be? And what a draw that we end up in the same group with them. What's the chances of us beating Argentina?
Slim to none.
Okay, and Slim just left town. That's what I heard. But in any event, that just tells you how it was getting work for Argentina. Do you think that it was a bitch that all those people bought tickets to see Messi in Vancouver and he didn't go?
My brother was talking about that. So he was working in Vancouver the last couple weeks, and he was like, there was a lot of buzz about, Messi coming to Vancouver, and just he didn't come.
Oh, the city must have been pissed, eh? What about the people that bought the VIP packages and all that nonsense? They don't get no kickback, do they?
No.
Okay, so people should have just, let's take a look at the barometer. If I had known that, not that I'm a soccer guy, but let's look at this. Miami flying to Vancouver. People question the surface in Vancouver. It's been questioned.
Yep.
Okay. So Messi's
because it's basically an indoor stadium.
You got it. So now they're talking about Messi going all the way to Vancouver with playing on a surface he doesn't like.
Yeah, some artificial turf.
Okay. On the eve of Copa America? Stop it. Should have seen that. Should have seen that coming, people. Put your tickets in the back pocket. But we're going to be watching closely. Of course, Brazil is one of the other favorites.
Yep. And it's being played in the States.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, mostly southwestern United States, right? But there's a big game at Jersey, though. Is there a big game at the stadium in Jersey?
Let's see. We got Fort Worth, where the Cowboys play, Atlanta, Austin, Houston.
Yeah, I knew a lot of it's in the Southwest.
Oh, we got New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep. Arizona, Glendale, Santa Clara.
Yeah, see, that's what I heard.
Inglewood.
Yep. 90%.
Miami, Orlando, Kansas City.
Oh.
Two Kansas City stadiums.
But there's quite a few games in southwestern United States, though, right?
Yeah, if you look at the map, you know what? I would say mostly the South. It's all kind of like...
So that means a lot of the games we're going to be seeing, we're going to be... Oh, yeah. So that means a lot of games we're going to be seeing, we're going to be prime time there. So it'll be prime time games for us, right?
Exactly. Canada, their opening game is June 20th, 8 p.m. in Atlanta against Argentina.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah. Copa America, I mean, the group stages can be a little sometimes, but once you get to the knockout stage, these guys they sharpen the cleats, put it that way.
Yes, 100%. It's been always that way. It doesn't quite get the attention of the Euro, but that's understandable.
I always thought once it gets to the knockout stage, like I try and watch as many games as I can. They're always very exciting. Last time around was it 2021? I thought it was a great tournament when Argentina beat Brazil in the final.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Good game. Those two teams will always seem to rise to the top, being the soccer nations that they are.
Oh, sure.
But we'll keep
only two South American teams to win the World Cup.
That's true, isn't it?
Oh, no, never mind. Uruguay, too. But
I was just going to say Uruguay, but that was a long time ago.
They haven't won since 1950.
50, oh, was it 50?
50.
Long time ago.
They've had some runs since, but...
Yep, I never got there.
As for the Euro, that begins next Friday, June 14th. Germany hosts Scotland in the opening match in Munich.
And we will have a complete rundown of the Euro with my amateur expertise and my undying jumping onto the Croatian bandwagon.
Italy, don't let us down again.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Just make it to the quarterfinal. Come on.
We're going to discuss that. I didn't want to bring up Italy yet, but we'll talk a lot about Italy next week. Don't worry.
You know, knowing Italy, they probably will put together a run since they tend to do that in the Euro. Just in the World Cup, they can't pull up their socks, but...
Okay, we're going to wait and see.
I digress.
We're looking forward to the Euro, though.
Yep.
Okay.
Taking it from the pitch to America's pastime, we're moving it on to the MLB, where the Negro League stats have officially been integrated, and oh boy, people are pissed. People need to stop bitching about Josh Gibson having the highest batting average now that they've been integrated. I've never seen so many guys going to bat for Ty Cobb in my life.
And all Ty Cobb wanted when he died was more friends.
I've seen people argue till they're blue in the face that Babe Ruth wasn't anything special and he was overrated. But now all of a sudden, like, we're handling Ty Cobb with kid gloves? Stop it.
Oh, no kidding. You know what I'm saying? Okay, if you look at the history of baseball, Ty Cobb did a lot of things to show you don't need home runs. You should go station to station.
Yeah.
Blah, all that kind of stuff. So I respect it. And he played both sides of the fence just to prove he could do it, okay? But the argument is this, in my opinion. I'm really glad that we're talking about Josh Gibson because I've known him for a long time since I was younger. And some people have said, I remember when I was a kid, the first time I heard Joe DiMaggio said he looked over and seen Josh Gibson playing a game at the Polo Grounds. He said, I'm glad we don't play against that guy. Mm-hmm. So he's been heard of a long time. Now, part of the problem I think with it is because baseball is such a numbers game. You're talking about comparing a guy with 600 games of records, because that's all they kept in the Negro Leagues at the time.
They were playing 40, 50 games a season.
Yeah, and sometimes we're not always sure about the accuracy of the recordings, but then of the box scores. But then again,
you can say that about the MLB games
okay,
too.
So we're going to say it. It's just that the numbers exceed. There's such a larger amount of numbers in the. Of course, in the Major League Baseball than there was in the Negro League. So sometimes there could be an unbalance there. The number one thing that we're talking about...
It's just as competitive as the majors.
Oh, my... No,
maybe even more.
Okay, this is going to be my point, where I hear people say, hey, Josh Gibson never played against Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth never played against Josh Gibson.
There we go. And my biggest thing about the whole game is I'm just really glad that the Negro League players are getting the respect they deserve after all this time. They'll be arguing about the numbers and who's great for the rest of the time. It'll be
that's baseball.
And that's freaking barroom talk and the whole 9 yards.
The steroid era was all about that too, was it not?
Okay, and we're still talking about that. The bottom line is I'm just really glad that they're getting the recognition that they deserve. And it's said to you again, and I've mentioned on the show a number of times, that I was really glad that this year when MLB Network did their greatest players of all time, they started with the numbers that started in 1942, the year that 1944, the year that Jackie Robinson,
the year of integration.
The year of integration. I might got the year wrong as usual. I never
either
know
way
the number, but you know where I'm getting at, correct?
Yeah, and I mean before this, if you had no exposure to Ken Burns baseball, you probably didn't know anything about the Negro Leagues, which, by the way,
100%.
Shout out Ken Burns baseball, greatest sports documentary of all time. I will be watching it again this summer.
Oh, I watch it all the time. You know what? I put the PVR on it. I watch
MLB Network shows it all the time too.
I know, and the thing is, I watch episodes again because there's so much damn information. You pick up something a little bit more.
And when he came back to do the 10th inning, that was amazing too.
Oh yeah, and you know what I like about it too is that there's little nuances in baseball from 1903 that are in the game in 2024. You know what I mean? Like
such as
people getting caught gambling and thrown out.
Oh,
okay, that's that.
Ooh,
you know. Okay,
we're gonna get right to that. So, to Cupita Marcano banned for life.
Good
for betting on his own team's games. No one took lessons from Pete Rose in this case.
I'm gonna say that's the. I would say that's the badassery of stupidity.
I know nothing badass about that, just all stupidity, IMO.
Okay, yeah. And the top 9 other guys got suspended too but that was for betting on the site, right? Like that weird rule you can't bet inside the.
Oh yeah, once you're in team facilities, yeah,
that kind of stuff. So, but guys are betting on other things too. That's a problem with legalized gambling. Like we've said how many times, it's just warped the angle of which we look at games and the way that players might try to corrupt it, and that's a dangerous thing. So that guy being banned for life.
I don't even know why you do that, because like you have to report if you're a professional athlete in like one of the big 4, you have to report when you bet on like any of the other major sports.
Exactly.
So like why would I wouldn't understand why you'd even bet on your own league. That makes absolutely zero sense to me, let alone your own teams. Like,
well, your career is so short, so your opportunity to make a bag is not. You know what I mean? You're in today.
Bet after you're done.
That's what I'm getting at. Luke Wilson said it best, a Windsor boy. Played for Seattle in short time for the Lions. He said, yeah, man, I didn't go near it. He goes, I bet all the time now. But he goes, I just waited till my career over because your career is only so long.
That's the way to do it.
The window of opportunity is not great. So, take what you can get and then do your other stuff later. You know what I mean? So we'll have to I'm glad when the guys get caught doing that shit, bye-bye. I'm watching that game. Maybe I bet on that game. Maybe you have an effect on that game, which makes me nervous. But we'll talk about that when we get to the gospel.
Yeah. Speaking of getting out, Toronto Blue Jays treading water. The back door is open for the wild card. You're sitting back in your chair. You look like you have a million things to say, but I wouldn't say this team is horrible so much as horrendously mediocre.
They're not balanced either. Okay, so now can Shapiro...
Oh, you're adding to my points. Okay, you're basically getting to what I want to get to.
Okay, so Shapiro and Atkins, as I keep saying... Okay, we know what the baseball experience is. You've been there this week. Okay, I've been
there 3 times this year.
Okay,
now.
and I'm going to be there imminently, okay? The bottom line is the lineup in this, nothing's balanced on this team. So we're going to talk about what you were selling us, and you're going to tell us that you're going to have the starting batting order was going to be Schneider and Jansen right off the hop? Come on, you're killing me. Oh, and that vaunted bullpen?
Well, I mean, to be fair, those guys are 2 of our best hitters right now.
Oh, but that's my point. Now, is either one of them hitting anywhere near 275? Jansen is.
Jansen, yeah.
But not Schneider. I think he's only hitting about 240, 250.
I thought his batting average was higher, but his on base is like well over like 350 or something.
Yeah, he's doing okay in the position. The question
I'm standing by, he should be in the All-Star game.
Schneider?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going that far yet because we're going to have a rep there, so I don't know who it's going to be. The problem with the Blue Jays right now is...
It ain't going to be Bo.
What? No, definitely not. We're going to get to Bo in a second, but as we're talking about that back door that you're talking about, let's look around the league one more time, okay? Baltimore and the Yankees are done. They're gone. Nobody's catching those 2, and I'm still saying that the Orioles will win the division by the time this race is done. And I can't believe that we split with Baltimore here at the Dome after the first 2 games that we had played.
That was just about a miracle.
There you go. Okay, so now what do we got to do? If there's only 6 teams, we've discussed this, so let's reiterate one more time. Baltimore and the Yankees are there. Cleveland's not going nowhere, and Kansas City's running right up their ass. Okay, and then in the West, you got one team, which is Seattle, but Texas isn't going nowhere. So let's not talk about the division leaders. Look at the 7 or 8 teams that are battling there that we have to jump over, including Tampa Bay, who's still got 1 game under 500. We haven't even talked about Tampa Bay or Boston, and they're ahead of us. You know what I mean? So the back door may be open, but it's only open a crack as far as I can see it. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. I mean, we're tied with Texas right now, but we're all kind of waiting for Texas to take that leap, put that foot on the gas, so to speak.
Well, I'm looking at the loss column. I'm Mr. Loss Column, and this is where you were right last week. The Yankees now have 2 games in the loss column on Baltimore. And you're right. Jarrett Cole is starting to throw. But if you don't think that the Toronto Blue
Making starts in AA.
Yeah, okay. So now let's see. If you don't think that the Toronto Blue Jays are in complete disarray with a bullpen that's given up more home runs than any team in the majors now, another frickin' 9th inning walk-off. Do we leave the majors in giving up walk-offs?
I don't even want to know.
Okay, well, that's just being a little sarcastic. But now
it might be.
We have another minor little problem. As we think our rotation is getting its act together, our buddy Alek Manoah is gone for the season with season-ending elbow surgery.
Getting the UCL, a.k.a. Tommy John surgery.
Dun, 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 dun. Now, some people have said, is this the end of his career in Toronto? I say no.
I hope not.
I think he's too young. I'm wishing you all the best, Alek. Go out there, rehab, do your thing after all the work he did to come back.
And not only that, but Kevin Biggio designated for assignment. Will he end up on Tampa Bay, and how soon?
Okay, I like when you say that. Okay, what, by the end of the week?
Oh, Tampa loves their utility guys.
Okay, so he should be there by the end of the week, and they could use him. They're what? They're only a game ahead of us. They're 1 game under 500, right?
Yeah.
I think Biggio had to go, and it's the beginning of the change for Toronto because you can't stick to the guys forever because if it's not working, ask the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Would you rather have him than Vogelbach? I think I would.
I would too. I'm surprised they actually let him go because I think they could do more. But I just think they were knowing that's going to be a contract situation coming up now because he's in his 5th year. You know what I mean? So I think it had more to do with money than it had to do with his ability because Vogelbach is just a freaking, what is that guy? He's a slug.
My dad made a couple of cracks about him.
Oh, yeah? Well, I can just imagine what he had to say about him, especially his speed, right? Another guy.
It was just more about his build.
Oh, come on. You know what? He's got a quick bat, but I think he's past his best before date. So he's not really helping us. Just like Justin Turner, he's trying as hard as he can past his best before date. And like it says, it gets back to that $600 million we were going to give to Ohtani, and then we spent it on nothing else, and now we got a disaster. Attendance is down.
Yeah.
You know, Toronto, I don't care what anyone says, the Blue Jay fan base is fickle. Now, there's a hardcore crew like us. Okay, we're watching morning, noon, and night. We're gonna.
In the summer, they're always drawing at least 20,000.
Well, that'll be there, but we should be at 30, 35,000.
Well, you got to put together a winning product.
That's what I'm saying. The baseball experience isn't working, Shapiro.
And it's not all of Major League Baseball is kind of a fickle fan base nowadays.
True, because it's becoming more niche and more local. But here's one of the things you have to examine, though, and I'm not giving an excuse. But I'm going to bring the numbers in because we're getting close where we can do our mid-season show, mid-season baseball. That's why I don't want to say a lot of things because I don't want to repeating it every show.
Yeah, once hockey and basketball is done, we can do a little bit more of a deep dive.
Exactly. And one of them, as I'm going to point out, is hitting is down. All over the league, it is down again. Everything they've done to increase the offense hasn't worked this year as well as they've thought. So that's across the board. So if it's going across the board and you're one of the worst hitting teams in baseball, it's going to exacerbate this situation to a point where you got the worst runners in scoring position average, worst getting a guy home with less than 2 outs and a guy on third base. You know all those crazy stats? The Blue Jays are on the bottom of it all. Top it off with some of the worst ERA. Bullpen, I think, is the worst in baseball. And the team ERA is in the bottom 5. How are we getting in the back door, Milani? How are we going to do this? I say the 10-game winning streak.
We need that yesterday.
Well, we do it now. Let's go in the All-Star break. So this is my Mr. Civility, positivity, hater guy that I am. Win 8 games in a row. If you won 8 games in a row, you know what you'd do? You'd leap 4 teams immediately. You'd move past Tampa, you'd move past Detroit, you'd move Boston, and you'd move ahead of Texas. Out west. We'd be running up Minnesota's ass, who's sitting in there.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? So give us an 8-game winning streak, which we should be able to pull off with this starting rotation. Well, not maybe without Mr. Manoah, but the bottom line is this Green guy, the guy that we thought was going to be okay because we got Romano and Swanson out of the picture. I wonder what this did for his confidence last night. He came out in the high-leverage situation when your starter went 8, gave up 1. And that's Bassett here, who, by the way, is 2 best starts against Oakland and Chicago. Just saying. Okay. But, you know what I mean? So that's a high-leverage situation until he gets rocked in Oakland. And what's Oakland? A game behind us? Oh, by the way.
More than that.
Isn't the back door
They're 5 games behind us now.
Okay, so their door is closed. Back door is closing rapidly.
Yeah.
Okay. In any event, the big question is going to be every day, and you hear about it, bro. What's going to happen at the trade deadline, which is what now? Getting shorter and shorter every day.
Yeah, a month and a half away, if that?
Less than that. So what does it do? Do we give up a Gozman?
Are we going to be able to get that much for him to begin with?
Oh, I think we will because, his contract isn't ridiculous, and he's still going to give you close to 200 innings, you hope.
But he's not pitching that great.
Okay, he's been up and down. So my theory on him is don't trade him.
That makes sense to me.
The only guy I would let go is Kikuchi, and that's only because he's no contract. He's a free agent. So are they talking backdoor about what to do with the guy or what? Because he's pitched better his last outing, too. It's just that all the starters on the J, except Barrios, you don't know what you're getting on a given day. They're solid butt.
Yep.
Solid butt. Solid butt. And what do we say? Nothing good comes after butt. And then, you know, another thing that's weird about this team, too, is our defensive alignment. Sometimes the chemistry's not there because guys aren't playing the same spot enough, not getting used to the guy that's next to him. You see how many little, small mistakes made on the field defensively that cost them a run in that, the next batter. That guy should have been out. Guy should have been in the inning. Oh, no, we didn't. We let him through.
That doesn't make sense because, by this time, I don't know, Schneider at second, Varsho in left field, Kiner Falefa at third base. That's the way it should be every night.
Oh, I agree. But then
obviously a couple off days in between here and there, but that's 90% of the time that should be your lineup.
Okay, and I agree with that. Then the next game I look and Schneider's in left field.
I don't get that. I don't think he's a good outfielder.
I don't either. I think that he's 50-50 at best.
He's a good second baseman,
though.
Oh,
solid second baseman. But sometimes when the chemistry with Bo is not there because they haven't played with him enough. So they'll go to make a play, and you look, and one of the guys is a little out of position. That's called chemistry. I've watched baseball a long time. I see that all the time. So what I'm saying, there's no balance to this lineup. That's what's killing us. And there's going to be no door open if all the other teams tighten up before we do.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm scared of. We're both scared of that.
Quickly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, before we leave baseball, though, we got to look around the league. Like you said.
Hold on. I just want to say, this is also, for the Blue Jays, this is feeling like Ricciardi era 2.0, does it not?
And I love Ricciardi until the end.
He stunk.
Until the end.
This is the same situation. They brought in a guy because they were the bean counters. They were the guys that did it with a lower budget. Remind you of something?
Yeah, but they changed management. They changed ownership in the middle of Ricciardi's regime. So you got to give them that. That was a tough thing.
But there was nothing special to begin with.
Okay. Okay, and he gave out some bad contracts.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of bad contracts.
Okay,
and they could never balance it out. It was either always good hitting or good pitching. They couldn't get both at the same time.
I agree. And
now, mind you, this team doesn't seem to have any of those strengths. But in the years past, it seemed to be one or the other. But I don't know. This is starting to feel like a lost season already. Dare I say a lost generation of Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, boo. That could be. You know what I mean? But I keep telling you, this is what I don't understand.
Ricciardi era 2.0.
Okay, this is what I don't understand about the Jays. Let's think about this, okay? We talked about, look at Philadelphia. Okay, when the time when Harper went to Philadelphia, Washington won the World Series, what's Philly doing? They were building. Look where they went. Baltimore, drafting and building. Look where we went. If we go back to 2015 when we had the Donaldson, Batista, and all that shit that was going on, and it looked like we had a relatively bright future, which is just 9 seasons ago. Look at all the teams, and we have the resources. This is what I'm talking about. As a big market team, we're supposed to be in the front row of doing this shit. Look at how many teams have kicked our ass. Arizona, Cleveland, come on, Kansas City now, Minnesota. In that period of time, we have failed miserably to have that 8-year of growth where we're supposed to be, now we're a contender every year. Remember last year, some people were calling us to go to the World Series.
Which I couldn't believe, but...
Well, we looked like we had the potential to do it. Now everyone's calling us, we're just about a dumpster fire. We're going to be the team that we're playing the Blue Jays this weekend, we're going to break out of some slumps. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what's going on here. So I have fear what's going on at the trade deadline. If we end up as a 70-win team, how can we keep Shapiro and Aikens in the house?
Oh, we can.
They will. Money, you know what I mean? Roger's going to look at the bean counters, the money,
It's
the
been
ratings.
10 years, though.
That's what I'm saying. And all these other markets that were smaller that we're building, like, why can't we do that? That's what I'm not understanding. Okay, we developed Bichette, we developed Guerrero, we developed
Atkins didn't even want to draft Bichette.
What's that?
Atkins and Shapiro didn't even want to draft Bichette.
There you go. So here we are with all
And Vlad fell into their laps.
Exactly.
Now, what have they done? Alexanthopoulos signing.
Okay, so what have they done for us development-wide since then? Snyder?
Manoa.
Okay, whoops. Oh, yeah. I forgot.
I guess Jansen would have been one of their picks, too.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about Gurriel, Teoscar, Marino.
No.
We'll just say,
Teoscar was I guess they traded for him from Houston, right?
Yeah, but he has to come back. That's what the big thing is. He came to Toronto first, and they said no.
Oh, God.
They said no, and he would have taken a little less money to play in Toronto. He loves the city. But
now we see him swinging away on the Dodgers.
Oh, in the 5th spot, going to get himself a ring. It's crazy. In any event, listen, people, I don't know what we do as a fan base to motivate the people in the front office of the Toronto Blue Jays, but we got to start screaming something because this is a joke.
Keep not showing up.
I see that. Let the attendance dip. That's the number one. Once the attendance dip, they got a parameter. They're just lucky that they've got such a great audience on Sportsnet. Like you know that the Jays ratings on television.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yes, and stayed steady for like 20 years. The blips are when they go up, not when they go down, because the downswing is like 1%. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the season, if everything's kind of looking weird, it'll go down 1 or 2%, but it won't drop like in a city like some of the other markets, like 15% in Detroit or a Cincinnati or whatever. Pittsburgh, whatever the case may be. Big shout out to the Phillies though, in their season.
Oh boy, looking like the best team in the majors right now.
Best
Could this finally
rotation.
be their year?
Best rotation. They can hit. We're
it.
going to sit around. But anyways, we're taking a deeper dive into the whole baseball extravaganza once we finish with the dramas that are going on in 2 other major sports in North America right now.
But shout out also to the White Sox breaking their historic 14-game losing streak. That was a 100-year-old losing streak that they broke.
You know what's even crazier, though? Look at a couple of years of Chicago. Remember, they were the contenders. I think one of the first shows we did a couple of years ago, we were talking about the White Sox as a possible wild card team.
Yeah, like I was talking to my friend, and I was trying to put this in hockey terms for him. I was like, imagine if, the Devils had that good season last year. They kind of slipped a little bit this year. It's like, imagine they just kept slipping over the banana, so to speak.
Interesting point.
That's the White Sox.
Ooh, that's scary.
I'm not saying that the Devils will do that.
But it's an interesting comparison. Very interesting. Well, we're going to see. I hope they stand up more than that.
They have Sheldon Keefe, the GOAT.
There you go.
The greatest coach of all time.
There you go. All righty.
Like you said, we'll move this to the 2 other major North American sports. We will begin with the NBA. But before we get to the finals, the Lakers have looked like they have offered UConn coach Dan Hurley a very sizable offer after it looked like J.J. Redick was going to be a sure thing to be hired. But Hurley right now 50-50 on the fence to whether or not he should leave UConn for the Lakers. If he says no, I imagine that job will be J.J. Redick. He had that podcast with LeBron where it looked like a de facto job interview.
They were just kissing and telling, that's all. Okay, can I do something? I think Danny Hurley is a great coach. He comes from a long line of coaching families. His dad was successful. His brother, Bobby, who was an all-Duke guy with back-to-back championships back in the day, I think he coaches down in Arizona or Arizona State. I want to put something forward, and I like Danny Hurley a lot. But in my years, and everybody knows I'm a big March Madness guy at college basketball. I follow pretty damn closely. There is not a lot of coaches that make the leap from college coach to NBA coach. So I think that it's going to be the money that brings Hurley over because Connecticut is now considered blue blood, considering that
they're the new Duke.
Yeah, no, but they've been around. They should be considered that longer because they have won a lot of championships the last 20 years, more than anybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
They had the little slump there when they lost Jim Calhoun left and they had some coaching changes, but they did win one with what's his name, and now they got Hurley back in back-to-back championships. So my theory is this. Is he an NBA coach? John Calipari? Rick Pitino? What's his name? Was at Syracuse all these years. Never thought about going. Why didn't Coach K ever go to the NBA? And he was offered.
Well, yeah, you also had more control over your roster, but now with the portal and NIL, it puts a wrinkle in the mix. So you see a lot of these old school guys, they couldn't wait to get out the door.
Okay, I agree with that there, but I'm still saying, like, I hope he's a great X and O guy. But the college game and the pro game is different. Now, we have a little bit of difference with Brad Stevens. It was huge in college, I think, with Bradley, or was it with what school?
Butler, yeah.
Okay. And then he came and coached, but he took a look around after 2 or 3 years, and what did he do? He moved upstairs because he got into the building part of the game, and he's been very successful at it, as we can see where Boston is in the championship.
So he's the exception. So why can't Dan Shirley be an exception as well?
Because he moved up to the front office. He was only there a couple of years and said, I'm getting out of here, I'll build.
Well, it's a good 5-year run he had as the Celtics coach, was it not? Maybe more.
I don't think so. I think it was less than that. But he moved into the front office. Could be. I can't remember.
Either way,
anyway,
he's a successful college to NBA success story.
Okay, and what about the guy that coached Florida? I'm having a great brain fart. Donovan. Okay, he was great. Back-to-back championships in Florida. Came to the NBA. What success has he had? Questionable at best. Now, the one guy that has had success is Quinn Snyder. Mm-hmm. Okay, where's he coaching now? Is it Utah?
No. I believe so. No?
Okay, anyway, we'll look up Quinn Snyder, who was great. I thought Missouri and stuff. But he's an NBA coach because that's the way he coaches. Okay, you could see that when he was in there, and I'm done with the kids. I got to go play with the men. So there is exception to it, and I hope Danny Hurley has success doing it there. But I do question sometimes, if you're a college coach, you're an NBA coach. What you have pointed out, which changes all of the dynamic, is, of course, the portal.
Yeah. Way less control than ever before.
Yes, and it's out of hand, and you're playing the players. So
the genie's out of the bottle. They ain't going back.
100%. You got it. It's going to change things. Anyways, does LeBron have any say in this matter?
Of course he does.
He says he has nothing to do with the coaching selection or process in vetting one, because I'm just here to play for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, if he didn't say that, then there'd be a media shitstorm, so I can understand why he said that.
Controlling the narrative, baby. Controlling the narrative. It's great.
LeBron's good at that.
Very good. One of the masters of that, to tell you the truth. We'll wait and see about the Lakers.
Yep. So we'll see. We should know by the end of the finals whether or not it's going to be Hurley or JJ that's going to be the head coach.
Yeah, because they want to be prepared for the draft. That's what I'm
absolutely
I'm hearing. So we'll wait and see.
The Lakers apparently not taking Bronny with the 17th overall pick. I got that notification this morning, but we will see.
You believe that?
Not really.
You believe anything about Bronny right now?
I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
I believe he looked good at Combine.
Sure.
Okay. I'm wondering if he's going to go right to the G League.
That's probably best for him.
I'd say so, too. Or stay another year in college. Go to Duquesne.
I think he's past that bridge now, is he not? Or can he still go back to college?
He can still go back.
Okay. Either way, I think that would be the best thing. But,
me too.
But G League, close second.
You know, but I'm saying that's what we're noticing about some of the players now, that they're staying in college a little bit more, so they're more prepared when they're coming into the pros, and it's making for a better game in the NBA.
But even if you go to G League, isn't that kind of like you're getting prepared playing against professionals? You could argue maybe that is a step up. I don't know.
Well, I like the whole process of developing players instead of throwing them into the fire, one and done. Not getting their feet on the ground, and probably some of the reasons that they could have been immature and not prepared. And what ends up happening? Career's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Anthony Bennett, where are you? You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Remember when he played for the Raptors for a hot second?
Oh, yeah, that cup of coffee. That cup of coffee.
I was talking to like a friend of a friend, and he was like saying how like the Raptors should have held on to Anthony Bennett. I was like,
what?
Did you watch him play? He was awful.
I thought for a while that he would learn to bang in size.
It just never happened.
No, and I thought he could have been like a Kendrick Perkins light.
Well, I was shocked when Cleveland took him with the number 1 overall pick.
You were shocked? I was stunned. I remember I was sitting at home to see what happened. The number 1 pick from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Anthony Bennett. I went, what?
Like everyone just had like a collective jaw fall to the floor. But either way, we will move this on to the NBA Finals. Boston, Dallas, Game 1. Luka coming in with Kyrie, and they get smoked by Boston Game 1.
Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the big picture here. First of all, one thing you got to say to
they got killed by Kristaps.
We're going to get to that in a second. Okay.
20 minutes, 20 points.
Oh, it was ridiculous, and he was hot as hell, eh? In any event, Let's take a look at this. One thing I got to do is give the pundits credit this year. You know why? Because at the beginning of the season, they said that the Boston Celtics were the
heavy favorite.
Yeah, best constructed team in basketball. And
Okay.
after all their appearances in what? This is Jaylen Brown's fifth conference final, second NBA final, or third, because I think he was there in his rookie year.
No, this is their second final.
Second final? Okay.
Just that one against Golden State.
Okay, so now they're there. Not only that, the competition in the East wasn't as strong as in the West, they said. But
No, not even close.
So one of the things they were saying was they got away with all this without Kristaps Porzingis. Oh, gee. Guess who showed up in game one? Was he not hot? Did you see the game?
Hot as heck.
Oh, I could
Yeah, I was
not
watching
believe
that
it. I was
game.
going to light my cigars. Okay if I light this?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Anyways, he could have lit my cigar. I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it. And he's got that awkward swing, but he is a unicorn-type player. There's no
That
doubt.
was his
Does he
nickname
come
in New York.
Of course. And not only that, though, it motivates him because now you're on the cusp of a ring. That motivates people way
Sure.
more than when you think about it. And I'm saying the problem with Boston is this. They were up by 30 at one point.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, so they
Dallas came back. They made it into a game, but
You know why they made it into a game? Because frickin' Boston thought they'd put them away with all those stupid threes.
But their shot, the Boston three-pointers were falling. I think there was one guy coming off the bench who was 0 for 5. But other than that, you look at their three-point shots. Everyone's shot was falling.
Yeah, early in the game. But what they should have done is stay inside and kept the 30 points. When you start clanging bricks, you give the other team a chance to get back in the game. I would have stayed in the paint. Look at Porzingis. He only shot, 2 threes? Most of his shots were in the paint.
In the paint, yeah.
Yeah, so why didn't they control the game from the paint? And you never give him a chance to think.
This is the Joe Mazzulla special.
Well, that's what they say, and there's no lead safe in the NBA. Okay, I'm getting all that, but I mean...
30-point lead's pretty safe.
Almost wasn't. They got it down to 18, wasn't it? Or 16?
Wow.
Well, I
18 still.
and I thought the energy to get back would never get him in there. The question is this. Does Dallas recover from this in the second game, or do they regroup at home? Because one thing I did notice is...
Boston's blown a lot of game twos in these playoffs.
Oh, that's another thing,
home.
too. Okay? But the thing is this. Drew Holiday, that white guy, those guys play defense. And that kid off the bench, Pritchard or whatever his name is, they're constantly harassing Kyrie Irving the whole game.
Who did not have a great shooting night.
No, they were all over him. So I'm going to say Kyrie's going to do some adjusting. Now, Luka was Luka.
Yeah.
Okay? And not only that, when they were making their comeback, what was he doing? Controlling the pace of the game. So why would the Celtics let them do that when they had control of the game? That's what I don't understand. With the shooting, no movement from the players. They all stopped moving. I guess we got this game. We got this game. As you can tell, I couldn't give a flying fuck about the Celtics, to tell you the truth. And it's pretty hard to cheer for Dallas, too. But the bottom line is, I don't think there's enough on the front end for Dallas to compete with Boston. Just size-wise and banging. And in the emergence of Porzingis coming off the injury list, who do they got to defend him?
That's definitely a big problem for them.
And Boston is a better team defensively, even though the Matrix says the last 25 games in the NBA season, the Dallas Mavericks had the best defensive percentage in the league. But they didn't play Boston every night, did they?
No, they didn't. But, I mean, that being said, these playoffs have been filled of, where we have these blowout games, but then basically you throw that out the window game two.
So
that's why I'm still confident that Dallas can pull this one off.
You predicted them to win it, didn't you?
Dallas in 6. I'm standing by that.
I'm saying, what did I say?
You said Boston. I don't know. You were afraid to throw out a number.
I know, but okay, I'll just say now I should have said less than 7 because they're just a better team defensively. And look how they got here, okay? Here's another thing. When you look at the gauntlet that Dallas went through and the competition that they played and the level of tough games that they had to play as opposed to Boston, I thought they'd be a little bit more battle-tested or maybe
they're a little bit more banged up.
That's possibly too, but I thought a couple of guys on Dallas looked like that Gifford guy. They all looked like deers in the headlights for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially when the score started getting out of control, everybody, they froze. And Jason Kidd did his best to pull it together. But once that snowball starts rolling.
Yeah, it's tough to stop.
Train kept rolling all night long. In any event, I think we're going to still get some great games. I don't think Luka and Kyrie have given up. I know.
No.
And I like Kyrie's the game because the crowd was on him like crazy. I love Kyrie's attitude after the game. Oh, I thought they'd be louder. Gotta love that in the
do,
guy.
I do.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's saying, I hear it, but I don't hear it, right? But they really harassed him. Like, was it a 3-man thing in the switches? They had 2 fast guys on him. And True Holiday is proving he is one of the best defensive, on-the-ball defenders in the NBA.
Do you think Milwaukee's regretting that trade?
Letting him go and Grayson Allen was a huge mistake. Like I said, you talk about the chemistry of teams. There's a team that now maybe next year they'll be better with Damian and they'll get better chemistry. But that's too major. You need those pieces. You know what I mean? And you look at Boston; they got 5 or 6.
Mind you,
pieces.
Dallas last year they traded away some pieces like that to get Kyrie, and they figured it out this year. So maybe Milwaukee can learn from that. I don't know, but either way, we're back to the finals.
But just think about this. So it's gone through Dallas. Okay, they couldn't keep Porzingis because somehow that didn't work. They let Jalen Brunson go. So I'm just thinking that Dallas made a quick left turn and got lucky, in my opinion, because they had some of the pieces that should have got them there further. I think it's difficult to play with a guy like Luka. You got to learn to play with him, and I think Kyrie can adapt to anybody.
Well, they say that about Sidney Crosby in hockey too, but you're taking Sid on your team any day of the week.
Why is Crosby hard to play with? He passes the puck.
I know, but look how he went through line mates through those years. It was always like they tried to put him with this guy, tried to put him with this guy. They never seemed to be a fit. For years, he was playing with Chris Kunitz and Pascal Dupuis because they thought those were the only.
But Chris Kunitz can put it in the net when he got a puck on a stick.
Okay, but Chris Kunitz is no, I don't know, Patrick Kane,
He's
right?
no William Nylander.
Yeah, exactly.
But he scored 40 one year, didn't he?
I don't know if he scored 40.
Late 30s. He
probably
got
30s.
Yeah, he did it. Anyway, before we regress. Playing with Luka is like that because sometimes Luka becomes the ball hog. You know,
but if he can control the tempo, that's something you want on your team any day of the week.
So I think what happened was Boston started running really quick in the beginning to get away from that pace to make Luka run. So the Pillsbury Doughboy had to run a little bit more than he wanted to. But he's playing great in the half court, and he's using his girth and his size to muscle down on those guys to get them there anyway. I'm not a Luka fan. You guys know that. Everyone knows I'm not a Luka fan. Just because he played professional was 13, I'm supposed to suck his dick? Fuck him. So I look at it. You know, I'm not a fan, and I'm not a fan of that style of basketball. So if he gets away with it and he wins, great. But if he loses, like, who am I cheering for here? Nobody.
Yeah, it sounds like nobody.
I'm just watching the game. And it was a bitch watching the game, and all of a sudden they're up 30. I waited all week for this, walked my dog, had some good munchies, the beer was cold, and I went, what? For this?
The one thing that is a wrinkle in my plan is that Tatum didn't have a great shooting night either.
Didn't matter. Jaylen Brown was on the case.
Well, that's my point. He's going to wake up here sometime, too, and, Dallas is going to have to deal with that as well, even if Kyrie figures out and scores 30 next game, which I predict he will.
Okay, so my take on this is what I'm talking about the Celtics all the time. Sometimes Tatum sits back and starts shooting instead of driving. Take a lane, open it up. As long as he's shooting threes sometimes. He thought a couple threes that he clanked terribly when they were up huge. What if the game was close?
But his three-point percentage was still pretty good.
40%, was it?
That's good.
Well, I think that he was like 60% in the first half or something crazy. But when you're trying to put the game away, don't waste possessions. That's my theory. If I was a coach, don't waste.
Yeah, he was 3 for 7 from 3. That's pretty good.
Okay, but the last 3 clanged. Well, you know what?
Still.
Another thing you have to understand too, with a big lead like that changes the way you play too, right? You know what I mean? You're not as urgent. You're up more on a defensive stature because Tatum didn't play bad defensively.
No, of course not.
You know what I mean? And he switched on Luka a few times to screw him up. So I'm still saying the Celtics are going to win, and America's going to be happy, and the Red Sox next city gets another banner.
I don't know if America's going to be happy. But
New England will be happy. That's about it.
That's true. Do you think that Kristaps is going to play more than 20 minutes in Game 2?
He doesn't have to. If they keep the formula, don't kill the guy. You know what I mean? I
agree.
I'll say he gets up to 25 minutes. But
he's not going to play 30.
No, and the rotation.
And I don't think I'd be shocked if he starts.
But they're rotating 8 guys well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they even got a 9th guy coming in when they got the lead. He got some experience coming in there when they had the big lead. That's when they wilted it a bit, but that's okay. They had bench players coming out, getting some experience in NBA Finals. That's how I looked at it.
So we are both holding firm with our opinions. By next time we talk,
Melania will be buying me a beer.
We'll see.
We're going to go.
By next show, we will be 3 games into the series, so we'll have a little bit of a better idea, although there's still going to be a ton of ball left to go. Anything else you want to mention?
I just hope the games are better than game 1.
Yes, and before we...
I just want to say this. I'm going to be very interested as this playoffs ends, the final pick for the American ball team. They got their roster, but there's a couple spots open.
Oh, for the Olympic team.
For the Olympic team. I'm going to be watching closely to see who gets the call.
It's a little bit down the line, but also we would be remiss if we didn't shout out Doris Burke, the first woman TV analyst for a major men's championship event.
Oh, that's very cool. And I heard she gets backlash online, and I don't understand why.
Why?
I don't know. I've heard some people
She's great.
I think she's amazing. I think, you know what I mean?
You ever see her high school highlights?
Oh, she was a beast. She was a beast. Big shout out to her. Did we mention the Celtics and the class move they made?
Oh, we did not.
Well, we have to do that. You know what
absolutely.
I mean? I got a couple of texts from friends which made me crack up because I even knew this. When they came onto the field with those shirts on that said Walton, that wasn't for Pride Month. Those were Grateful Dead. Tie-dyed look, because we all know that Bill Walton was probably one of the biggest deadheads in the history of deadheads. So I thought it was a really, really class move, the presentation on the big screen. And I don't like to associate the Boston Celtics with class, but for one night, they definitely showed it to America, don't you think?
Absolutely.
There you go. And God bless Bill Walton. We're going to miss him.
Absolutely. We will move it from the NBA Finals to the NHL Stanley Cup Final.
No. Wait a second here. Isn't this a Toronto Maple Leaf report? What are you talking about? NHL Finals. I thought we had to do the Toronto Maple Leaf report. Aren't we in Etobicoke? The birth of Leaf Nation? We got to get to the Toronto. Forget about the finals. What do you mean talk about the finals? We're the house that happens. Aren't we Toronto-centric? We got to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, don't we? Come on.
Wow, I didn't know you were so eager to talk about the Leafs.
I'm getting tired of it.
So the big Leafs news this week is that Marner will go into the season without negotiating a new deal. Not really a huge surprise, if you ask me.
What do you think about that?
I think it's time for us Leaf fans, and I've been guilty of this as well. I'm going to take some responsibility, but it's time to end this Marner hate. We need to help the guy out.
So you
show our love.
So you mean I don't have to keep my limousine parked in front of his house to get him to the airport? I can cancel that deal now?
It doesn't look like there will be a ride to the airport.
I had a standby ride for Marner just in case he had to get to the airport.
I hope you didn't have to put a deposit down.
I was hoping to just take him to Porter in that quick flight to Montreal. That's all I was thinking of. You know what I mean? There's talk about
Bishop.
I'm wondering what the discussion was between him and Berube. Okay, because here's the real thing about the Leafs. There's 3 or 4 other parts we got to think about here. Number 1, you guys should be talking about goalie first.
Absolutely.
I really will give...
I keep teasing my to-do list for the Leafs this offseason, which the moment the final is done, you will hear.
Okay, so now let's just say this. I will give Brian Hayes this much credit. Of all the pundits out there, Ferrari, Dregs, Blunt, name a few more. All those guys that are all Toronto guys.
You can pronounce them right the next time.
Who cares? I don't even care about any of them, really. I turn them off.
Blunt, was that a Freudian slip?
Well, yeah, you know how I am. Mike Johnson, the whole gang. I like that Strudwick guy.
He's funny.
He's great to be on there. But my point is they all talk about the angles that they got to build a team. And I give Brian Hayes credit because he comes back to sound like a stuck record, but it's right. He goes, what about goaltending? We ain't going nowhere without goaltending, and that should be the mantra that we hear instead of all this talk about, what do you do now with John Tavares? You heard those rumors, right?
About what do you mean?
The discount he's going to...
Oh, I mean...
Okay, there's rumors about the discount. So you can't give him a contract...
Until July 1st.
You can't. No, you can't even do it. You got to do it to the end of the season because you can't say you guy's making $11 million and then you're going to sign him for $5. You got to wait till his contract's done. It's got to be like a Duchesne deal. It's got to be like
well, Kopitar took a
Kopitar, a Kopitar deal.
Yeah, but he did that. Like, why can't we do that with Tavares?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I don't think that you can do that before the season starts because the media in this city is so insane. They'll be going, "Hey, man, I thought you were $1 million player. Why'd you sign for $5?" So don't even give him a chance to talk about that.
Nah, that's ridiculous.
What are you going to say?
The media would be like clapping and cheering if he takes a discount. I don't see what the problem is here.
I think it will be, but they won't do that until the season's over. That's what I'm saying. So we don't have this
So you
talk
think it's
all
like a
year.
wink kind of deal?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
I'm starting to believe. There'll be a wink deal there.
I don't think Tavares would go for that. I think they want to put pen to paper, or should I say the agent?
Okay. One more time. I don't think Tavares is leaving town. I think you're going to get a home. That's my opinion. I think he's going to do a hometown discount at his point in his career and what he wants as a fan. I'm thinking his bank account is pretty good. I think he's going to win that case in the tax thing when that
Oh
gets
my
there this
God, I
summer. I
forgot
think he's
about
going to
that.
win that. So the bottom line is, I don't know if he's living in Hart Park or Oakville.
Either way.
Either way, he doesn't want to go anywhere with his young family. So I think you're going to get the discount, and he's set for life financially already. I heard he's a smart man. He's a good businessman. So if he's going to give you the deal, I don't think you want to talk about it during the season because people will be yakking about that.
We got a little off track here because we were talking about Marner before.
Okay, well, we're going to get back to Marner in a second.
Okay.
I think it's a big gamble for Marner to do what he is doing. A huge game. Betting on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
Okay, so what's going to happen? The same as Willie Nylander, and he gets off to a 120-point start season. By Christmas time, he's on pace for 120 points. What do you do then?
Well, I think that's going to be the freak out talk midway. By the time in December, that's going to be about how much we're going to have to pay this guy.
Is this Groundhog Day?
Welcome to Toronto.
Is this That's why I'm saying about Toronto. We
I
have
am
to
just
do the
saying,
Toronto
Leaf
Maple Leaf
fans,
report.
We need to welcome Marner back with open arms.
Really?
Show him our support.
Okay, so I want you down.
This is what we dreamed of as Leaf fans, to have a player like this.
Okay,
and we're like, and I'm guilty of this as well.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Who's the only Marner fan at the house that happens? Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm a Marner fan.
Kind of, sort of. You're not as fan as big as you were 18 months ago. I'll tell you that much. You know what I mean? I heard you guys had chasing me off the street. You weren't chasing me off the street when I was parking the car in front of his house.
Way too early prediction, but I think he gets 110 points next year.
100 points for sure.
110, I'm setting it at.
Wow.
He's going to lead the team in points.
Wow. And then what are you going to do? Dun, dun, dun,
him the
dun, dun.
bag.
Okay, and then what ends up happening? We go back to the same story we said before. No team has won a Stanley Cup with 3 guys making over $10 million.
Well, this is going to be the first year where we get a
You
Stanley
don't have 4.
Oh, hold on. But it's going to be the first year where a team does win the Stanley Cup with someone making over 10 mil.
Wow.
The first time in history this year, guaranteed.
You're saying that?
It's already guaranteed because each team, Edmonton and Florida, has one.
Oh, right. That's right.
It's already guaranteed.
What, they'll have 2 players, only 2, right?
I think each has 1.
Dreisaitl's making 9?
8.5. They got him for a steal.
I know, at the time. So
And I remember Peter Chiarelli was being crucified for that contract. Now it's like a
it's
slam
bonus.
dunk.
So what-
but it's Bobrovsky for Florida and McDavid for Edmonton
they're the only $10 million players?
for each team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's just pointing more fingers at the Toronto Maple Leafs for
The
having
cap's going up.
Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. But here's another thing.
There's some whispers now that with the health that the league is in now, that the cap might go slightly higher than we might have anticipated, that they might take another $500,000 jump to $88 million.
That would be cool. That would help you guys. Because here's one of the saving graces. We haven't talked about the fact that the backdoor deals they're trying to make with Bertuzzi and Domi. Those are interesting contracts. Like, Domi's not leaving town. I bet.
For some of the money that he may be wanting, he might be leaving town. But
the Domi family's got money, too. He's in Toronto. I
don't think he's going to be taking from Daddy's money. I think Daddy's saying, be your own man.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, I mean, from a financial point of view, he's one guy that loves to play in Toronto, and he'd take a little bend. Bertuzzi
Maybe not.
Well, that's why we're arguing about it. And number 2 is Bertuzzi just had a new baby. Wants to have another one. He likes to be settled in Toronto. How do you get those guys in? Are they going to come in under the salary cap? I think the saving grace for you guys is the 2 kids that may make your team. I'm going to keep bringing that up. You know, both guys. One guy made it at a camp last year to get a taste, and you've seen your boy who did not make that all-star team for the London Knights, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. He's playing. He's breaking camp with you guys next year.
You would think right now, but I mean, you never know.
His size alone, he could be your next Nyes. So you could have him.
He's shorter though.
Not much, is he?
He's 6'1". He's under 6, isn't he?
No, I think he's about 6'1". I thought.
Ooh, I
He's
gotta
built.
fact check
He's
that.
built like a hockey player. That's all.
He's built like a bowling ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's going to bring toughness.
I mean, we were saying that about Travis Dermott too, and where's he now?
That's another.
Yeah, Easton Cowan, 5'11".
Wow, I thought he was 6 feet. Anyways, I think he's going to
Plays like he's 6 feet in junior.
Oh, no kidding. And he's almost unstoppable. So that's got to translate to the NHL eventually. That's what I'm just saying.
Okay.
And you got the Minton kid, too, and you guys got a defenseman out there, that Russian guy. Would you have a Russian prospect as on defense? I heard about it. Was he a Czech prospect? You guys got a European prospect on defense at one of the guys.
There's a Finnish defensive prospect.
Is it a Finnish guy? Is that his name? Yeah. I heard he's doing really well. One of those.
He had a good rookie season last year with the Marlies. I know that.
Yeah.
Topi Niemela?
Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
So those Dregs, Blunt, and all those guys.
Then we got the Hildebeest developing in net. Some good prospects. I mean, it's not the greatest farm system in the league, but I mean, there's some guys we can look forward to.
And with the base that you already have, you're going to be a playoff contender next year for your 9th year in a row. Don't complain, Toronto. We're coming.
I'm telling people, let's be positive here.
So as we're keeping,
it was a rough fucking playoff.
No doubt about it. So got to remember this: teams like, and we always keep tabs on the Habs. We're going to be biting at ankles next year. Don't you worry about it. So you guys going to have to worry about us being a competitor.
I was actually thinking about you guys last night, about how you guys go about your roster construction, where maybe Kirby Dach, Cole Caulfield could be a very good second line.
Oh, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? If he comes back healthy the way he is, and Slavkovsky's only going to get better.
We need to figure out who those supporting guys are going to be for each of those lines. That's the thing.
Well, we're going to have the highest paid 4th line in the league.
Okay.
In any event, we also have 7 defensemen ready to play in the NHL right now. 7 guys, and they're all over 6 feet. That is a plus. And as long as our goaltending tandem holds up, we will be.
That's a big question too.
We'll be biting at the ankles. Well, let's get on to the real thing.
Hold on. One last thing is Utah announced their 6 final team nicknames.
Okay, what are they?
We have the Utah Blizzard.
No.
Utah Hockey Club.
Love it.
No, come on.
Okay.
That's a no for me.
Okay.
Utah Mammoth. Utah Outlaws. Okay, better.
Yes.
Utah Venom and Utah Yeti. I think those 2 are probably the most likely.
I'm going to
maybe Outlaws too.
Because I think they like the opportunity because of the Utah Jazz. That I think that they'll lean toward having one of those
non-plural
name, and Venom would be great.
I thought Utah Swarm was going to be because Utah is the beehive state, and it kind of has to do with hockey culture, and not the name on the back, but the crest at the front kind of thing.
Yeah, some interesting crests to make, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe the Bruins and the Penguins would have had some problems with them. Another black and yellow team in the league, but.
Well, they'll have to deal with it. Speaking of uniforms, really quickly, I want to say the City Connect jerseys I've seen in baseball are, and you know me, I'm not an alternative jersey guy. I'm the first guy bashing that shit. I'm getting one of those Toronto Connect jerseys. I think they
look good on TV, although in the actual in-game experience being there was a little tough to read what was going on. But.
They look a little bit like beer league softball jerseys at times, especially with the socks. But I'll take the jersey. I like the design.
I like the caps.
The caps are deadly.
Yeah.
Deadly. But anyways, shouldn't we be getting back to the...
Yes, so first we have to wrap up the conference finals.
Okay.
So Florida got it done against New York, as
I
suspected.
Okay, and you know why? Because they're a bunch of goddamn bullies. Can I ask you a question? Can you answer this for me? I want all those.
Well, and the Rangers stars tend to disappear.
Oh, they did.
Where'd Panarin go after the first round? He was great against Washington.
Okay, where did Panarin go? Where did Kucherov go? Where did who else?
Well, Kucherov, he plays for Tampa Bay.
But I mean, they beat all those guys on the way, so they've been great. That's the word. Can Florida take that combination of Barkov and Husling on defense and shut down Edmonton? But we'll get to that in a second. I just think that Florida sharpened their elbows every game, and they got away with shit called playoff hockey. So if we're going to be sending a product for 82 games during the year, and I know the intensity can't be the same, shouldn't we be able to see a level of refereeing and a quality of play that's somewhat equal to what goes on in playoff hockey? Oh, no, we can't do that. Come on. So who are we fooling here? We just play the whole season to get to the playoffs? So we can have real hockey? Are you conning me? What's going on here? So you're telling me not to show up during some regular season games, and I don't want to do that. You know what I want? I want to be able to support the teams.
Well, you just said it yourself. You can't play like this all 82 games.
I agree, but that means like all of a sudden the referee is changing. The instigator rule becomes involved. Guys get chippier. The refs aren't calling the stuff. You know what I mean? It affects the way the games are played, and I think it played to the advantage of Florida because all that rough stuff played right into their games. And if you didn't answer them, guess what? You went home. Ask New York. Ask Carolina. Ask.
You know what I think? Someone brought up a good point. You know what I think? Because the linemen they basically like grab each guy and like they can't grab one until the other one grabs one, right? Yep. I think they should just let it go so that these guys can drop the fake tough guy routine
100%. That's what I'm talking about. If you get a game in game 62, guys get sick of it. They just go at it. Let's just get this over with. Oh, we can't do that in the playoffs. It's a different game. Stop it. Same in the NBA. Oh, let's watch that. Let them play a little bit more physical. Foul calls have been way down in the NBA, by the way, in the playoffs. Okay, so that's what you're telling me. That's the thing about this hockey. Florida's got, to me, Broad Street Bullies 2024. And I think that the one team that can handle them is Edmonton, because Edmonton's got a little bit of a tough factor about them.
We'll get to that. But now that leaves the Rangers with some big questions now. Jacob Trouba, their highly paid captain, is coming under fire now for some of his play. Igor Shesterkin can negotiate a new contract come July 1st. How much can he ask for? He can ask for 11 maybe.
Well, I'm going to keep the theory that the house that happens likes to bring up all the time. Unless your goaltender is frickin' Turk Broda, Jock Plot, Patrick Roy, Martin Brodeur wrapped into one, I ain't paying a goalie $10 million.
Although Florida, they're paying Bobrovsky, what, 10?
It's paying off for them. So
they're spending like what, 15, 16 for their goalies combined this season? It was insane.
Oh, and they got away with it. How often can that go on? Let's look at Cap Friendly. Florida's going to have some issues when the season's done.
That's true.
Look at their lineup. There's a few guys out there. Will Toronto take a shot at Sam Bennett? Or Reinhardt?
I think Reinhardt's staying. I think they're going to let Montour go.
That could be a mistake.
It could be.
I think he's their most mobile defenseman. He's their key guy in the power play. And on the penalty kills, he's that guy. All the other guys are just big goons, except for Forsling.
Who was a waiver pickup.
Yeah, and just think, like, the way that he's been playing now.
Led the league in plus-minus this season.
And not only that, like, you get in front of the zone, he's old school. He's knocking you on your ass. But I'm looking at the size of the guys. Hyman's not afraid for contact, okay?
Well, let's wrap up the Western Conference Final first. Edmonton-Dallas. I said Dallas took in 5, but Edmonton, they were down 2-1, but they swiftly turned that series around. McDavid and Draisaitl found that extra step. Stuart Skinner, while not perfect,
God.
He's this group's Grant Fuhr, I guess you can call him.
Oh.
Although Duchesne missed an empty net, but
okay, that's another
shot
story.
it right at Skinner's shoulder.
Oh, yeah, that was rough. But the bottom line is, I think that what happened, too, is that I thought that, and you mentioned this before, the depth of Dallas and the size would have been a little bit tougher, because what happened was Edmonton made that drastic change where they put 3 guys in the lineup, including Corey Perry, and their toughness factor went up, and I thought that was a little bit of an edge to get him there, especially with that lead group of Bouchard and Ekholm on defense. You know what I mean? Yep. That made a huge difference, and they weren't afraid of the tough stuff. So when the banging and the scrimmages along the board and all that, notice that in the end of the game, it's just Edmonton seemed to want it a bit more.
Yeah. Although I will say, Dallas, they don't do too much of the extra stuff after the whistles. Edmonton's going to have to deal with that against Florida.
Well, I think they're the team that's prepared for that. Their guys aren't that. Corey Perry ain't scared. Evander Kane ain't scared. Nurse ain't scared. McDavid he plays in rough places, and he's fast enough to get through it. Draisaitl's not afraid of banging into people. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is proving to be one of the good players. His draft choice is now getting a little bit more respected, don't you think?
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? After all the maligning he took for being drafted that high in his position, now he's just a solid second line, first line guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's
he can play with the big boys on the top line.
100%, got great skills. So I'm leaning towards Edmonton after what they did to Dallas.
One more thing about Dallas, Joe Pavelski potentially calling it a career.
God bless him. Great career, buddy. We talked about it before the show. Hall of Fame worthy?
I don't think he's going to get first ballot, but I think he gets there eventually. Is he a top 10 American player of all time?
Let's research that. I'm not going to say that right now because I can name a bunch off my top of my head, like a Kachuk, Joey Mullen.
Yeah.
Joey Mullen, Mike Modano.
Modano for sure, top 5.
Oh, yeah. Modano, who am I missing? Tom Barrasso.
Hold on. You dissed Tom Barrasso when he got in the Hall of Fame. Now all of a sudden you're saying he's a top 10 American?
Well, because he's
American.
American.
I think Americans, the list begins with Patrick Kane, Mike Modano, Brian Leetch, Chris Chelios.
I was getting to those. Leetch and Chelios.
LaFontaine.
LaFontaine, yeah.
If you're going goalies, I would say Van Beesbrook and Richter, probably top of the list. Maybe even Quick.
Ooh, interesting. We're going to discuss that.
Van Beesbrook's got the Vezina. Richter's got the Stanley Cup.
We'll discuss that later show. The greatest American players of all time.
But either way, we will take this into the Stanley Cup Final. Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. Me and Steven, my brother, We both called Edmonton to make the
Yes, you
finals at the
did.
beginning of the season. I backed off that take, but Steven, I will give you credit. You held on strong this whole year.
Yes, you have. And you know what? We're all cheering. Like, I want to get something about the final. Let's get straight, okay? Canada's team. We're all cheering for Canadian market to win. You know what I mean?
Everyone's going for the Oilers. Even in the northern states, they're going
Okay.
for the Oilers.
Okay, so we open this hockey talk about the Toronto Maple Leaf report. If the Toronto Maple Leafs were in the finals, do you think they'd be Canada's team?
I think they would be.
As hated as they are? Come on. You get north of
I don't
Barrie,
know. When Montreal
West-
made the Stanley Cup final, I remember them lighting the CN Tower in Habs colors, the bleu, blanc, et rouge.
That freaked me out when I seen it, to tell you the truth. I liked it. But yeah, you do
Because
it
there's
because
one thing that
Canadian.
Canadians like more than hating the other Canadian teams, and that's beating the Yanks.
Oh yeah, so that's the, like I said, that's the common denominator. But I'm really thinking that is there a groundswell of Canada jumping up and saying, let's go Edmonton? I think it's not as big as people are saying it
I
is.
think it is big.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope it is, man, because I'm cheering for Edmonton. I'm picking them to win it.
Everyone I know is going for the Oilers.
That's a good thing. Well, you know why? Because we're Canadian. And we're in Toronto, so we don't have the negativity of cheering against a team that everybody hates.
I mean, fans in Calgary, well, if you're a Calgary fan, this is the worst final ever.
Oh, no doubt.
It's Edmonton versus Kachuk and Sam Bennett.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yeah. So, no. Nobody in Calgary's cheering. You know what I mean? People are going to say there, oh, it's Canada's team. Let's get up. Let's talk to some Calgarians, see what they're saying today. Besides, I bet you they're saying three things.
They're the exception, though.
Okay. And I don't know. We'll have to wait. I don't think Vancouver's jumping up and down about Edmonton.
I think they'd rather see them win than Florida.
Oh, point well taken. It's a Canadian factor again. That's all I'm saying is they're going to get there. And let's bring the cup home. We haven't had it since 93.
Yep.
Let's do it. We're all on Edmonton bandwagon here. You know, mostly I'm here for McDavid because I'm so sick of saying, how do you validate one of the greatest players of all time unless they get a ring? I don't want to see that because McDavid may be. You see him some nights when he just goes flying through the middle? Mario Lemieux was supposed to be the guy.
Oh, that goal to open Game 6 against Dallas.
Ridiculous.
Insane.
That's what I'm saying.
Insane.
I've never seen too many plays like that in my life. I've been watching hockey over 50 years. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. I will acquiesce to that, no problem now. Maybe the greatest skilled player ever seen with that speed. Come on, the guy's unbelievable. And therefore, if you want to be put on that pantheon, you have to win a ring.
Yep.
We don't talk about Marcel Dion.
Probably should talk about him more.
We don't talk about Gilbert Perreault. You know, guys like that. We don't talk about Peter Stastny. You know why?
Second highest score of the 80s.
Well, there you go. Why don't we talk about those guys more? Because they didn't get the ring. And that's a sin, but that's just the way sports are.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
But in the way it is now at the hard salary cap, the more and more teams, we might have to be prepared to kind of talk about these all-time greats as guys who'd never won. Because we see it in baseball.
Oh, all the time. But that's just what I'm trying to tell you. One more time for your Toronto Maple Leaf fans. 9 years in a row in the playoffs, quit bitching. Give Marner a hug. You know what I mean?
I'll give him a sloppy kiss. How about that?
Oh, boy, as things have changed at the house, that happens. In any event, let's just hope for a great series.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, there's a
before we
few
get there?
outside,
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
you can call them outside factors, but for one, Drake bet $500,000 on the Oilers to win.
Love that.
That's a bad omen right there because there's the Drake curse.
Yes.
The Corey Perry curse.
Oh, what is this now?
This is his fourth final. Well, he lost his last 3 finals.
Yeah.
So
But he's been in 5 in the last 10 years or something? 4 or 5?
Well, it was those 3 losses in a row, and this is like 4 and 5 now.
Yeah,
4 and 5 years.
He's in the finals.
Then his sophomore season, he of course won the cup with Anaheim, but
That's a long time ago.
That's
another galaxy away.
and he had
far, far away.
Niedermeyer and Pronger there with him
yeah.
there.
And what's his name too? Ryan Getzlaff.
Yeah, and Teemu Selanne kind of at the end of his prime.
Yeah. So yeah, things worked out well.
Way different there. And also, if you look at teams who is like it's this group's first time in the finals, which it is Edmonton versus a Florida team who it's their second time now in the finals.
Dun, 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 dun,
It does not bode well. There are some recent exceptions because I did the homework. I looked into this. St. Louis beating Boston.
Oh, that's the only one.
And Colorado beating Tampa. But that Tampa team, it felt like they were at the end of the road.
Exactly, and Colorado was on the rise. I'll give the St. Louis one more because Boston was a heavy favorite.
That was a crazy series, too, because Boston, they smoked St. Louis in, game 2 or game 3.
7-1 or something, 7-2.
Yeah, and then it went the distance. St. Louis took it in game 7.
Yeah, I was happy.
But other than that, you look like, okay, the Blackhawks won their first time, but they faced a Philly team. That was their first time.
Yeah.
LA, it was their first time when they won, but they played New Jersey, who,
kind of, sort of.
Besides Brodeur, that was fresh blood.
You got it. That's what I'm saying. It was kind of sort of their first time there, too.
So. Of course, Edmonton does have guys who have been to the finals before. Corey Perry, Evander Kane went to the finals with San Jose. Adam Henrique was on that Devils team that went to the finals.
Oh, that's right. That's that interesting point.
Ekholm went to the finals with Nashville.
Yeah.
But they're kind of few and far between. That's my point.
Do you think that the Barkov on forward and Forsling on defense, how many minutes will they play against
McDavid?
Yeah. Because they're even, and they say if they break even against that line, that's a Florida win. I'm not a Barkov fan.
Them breaking even's gonna be tough.
That's what I'm saying. But
Barkov can score too, so.
I'm not a fan of Barkov, but I'm now saying he's top 10 in the league.
Oh, you gotta like Barkov. How can you not?
Because he's Russian.
He's Finnish, actually.
Whatever the case may be. Something about his style.
I love the Finns. They have a great hockey program.
He is a great top 5 now. Definitely top 10.
Agreed.
But he could be top 5 as a two-way guy. You know what I mean?
He's the new Bergeron. He's going to be winning the Selke year in, year out.
The new Bergeron. And you know what? He's not afraid of the big moment. And don't be surprised if he scores an overtime goal or does something crazy.
And there's a quiet confidence that Florida has, too, this year, which is...
Just think about this much. This time last year, Tkachuk couldn't even get on the ice with a broken sternum. He's been not quiet... But he hasn't been quite the Tkachuk. Is this a series where he breaks out? That could be the difference in winning. Because it's that banging up and down the boards, like you said, Florida and all that extracurricular bullshit that they freaking display and Americans love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now we have to deal with that. So I'm hoping, what are you calling? I'm calling Edmonton to win, but I think it's going to go 7.
I'm saying Florida in 6. Could go 7 games, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton stretches this out, but... Again, the first-time factor, Florida
beating
you
down.
Quiet, they're on a mission. I think they know this is their group's last chance together.
Or it could be because of the cap-friendly situation.
The cap situation, yeah.
Definitely. I hope they don't win. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I'm going for Edmonton. I'm making no secret about that.
Good. The house is on the Oiler bandwagon.
So you're Oilers in
7.
Oilers in 7. I'm Panthers in 6. I'm guessing you're going to go with McDavid MVP.
Oh, it has to be. He's got 31 points in 18 games already.
Yeah.
You know, come on. Draisaitl could be there, too, because he's got 20-some points. And not only that, he seems to get that big goal in the big moment.
He does.
So we're going to have to wait and see.
McDavid could still, the assist in a playoff record is still within reach. And Hyman, the goals in a playoff record is within. If he has a big series, he could get it.
Well, and you know what? I'm expecting a big series of him because I don't think he's going to be afraid to go through the middle when Forsing's out there and someone just knocked Mature on his ass. Mm-hmm. Like, belt that guy and get him out of the way because he's the best, to me. Forsling's their best overall defenseman, but when it comes to bringing it out, power play and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Montour is the guy.
So let bang him. He's the smallest guy. Hit him. That's why I say Edmonton, hit everything you see too. Like, I'm really wondering what the first 10 minutes of this game is going to be like tonight.
Oh, I can't wait. 8 o'clock cannot come soon enough.
It should be outstanding. Good luck to McDavid, like I said.
I'm going to pick, there's no real obvious favorite for Florida, but I'm going to say Barkov.
Barkov
MVP if they win.
Or if Borowski stands on his head. What's the biggest advantage that on paper does Florida have?
Toughness.
Goaltending.
Sure, that is an advantage for sure.
If you look on paper, I
would say their defense is much more deep as well.
Ooh, Florida?
Yeah, 1-6.
Oh yeah. And they're tougher. But I'm not saying let's not underestimate the toughness factor on Edmonton. That's all I'm saying. So
they got Evander Kane. I mean, you would think he should be a factor if he can keep up with the play, but Corey Perry as well. Yeah,
we're going to wait and see. Should be a great series. Let's just hope it's great games, no blowout. Doesn't look like anything like the NBA game.
And one thing also to mention as well is these Stanley Cup Finals have been quite the anomaly in the fact that it seems to be building up rather than kind of paring down. Don't you think?
That's a good thing, don't you think?
It's a tremendous thing. I'm excited, but it's just like I kind of took a step back. I'm like, this is a little odd because second round was better than the first. I thought the conference finals were tremendous.
Oh, I do too. The games are great.
I think this is going to be a great finals. I'm really hoping for a 7-game series. I'm really hoping Edmonton wins it.
Oh yeah, we do too.
But this is not going to be McDavid's last final.
Oh no, definitely not. I hope he wins a couple. You know what to do. As long as he doesn't do it against the Habs, I'm happy. That's how you got to look at it. Good luck, everybody. I hope you're watching this series. I hope you really enjoy it. We're looking for a great ending to a very interesting playoff.
Absolutely. And I think it's just about that time of the week. Once again, it's my favorite segment. It's your favorite segment. It's everyone in the world's favorite segment. It's the gospel according to Cruz.
So thank you. So I'm watching the French Open. It's a tight match when Djokovic hits his mad lob over his opponent's head, which appears to land just beyond the line. Djokovic believes it's in, and since he has a challenge left, he calls on the line judge to check the call. In this new age of tennis, and with modern technology monitoring the game, players are given a couple of challenges when they believe a call is incorrect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the little graphic that they have.
The line judge leaves his chair, marches over to where the shot has supposedly landed, declares the Djokovic ball is in, much to the chagrin of his opponent, and of course they play the video replay, and it appears that Djokovic's ball has scuffed the line. Now I say scuffed because I couldn't believe a judge at Roland Garros jumps off his seat, looks at the dirt, and declares in. Now wait, isn't this the year 1924? Isn't this a generation of analytics and a must-see camera everywhere to supply all the visuals you need to validate a shot, a play, or a violation? I see a judge eyeball dirt and call it in. It actually really twists my melon. Why? Well, since I began seriously watching sports about 55 years ago, I can't recall all the goals and plays and violations missed by the humans refereeing the games. There was Maradona's Hand of God goal, Kenny Stabler batting a ball into the end zone during a playoff game, the immaculate reception, the missed out call in the World Series between Kansas City and St. Louis, which may have cost them the series, and we saw manager Whitey Herzog nearly blow a gasket. I was a John McEnroe disciple. Because of a lack of sophisticated technology they use today, I wonder how many times McEnroe was right when losing his shit over calls blown by humans refereeing the games. What if McEnroe had a challenge? And I can't live down the sheer corrupt notion haunting me from a Cowboys-Lions playoff game when my beloved Lions receiver was mugged by a Dallas defender and a flag was rightly thrown for pass interference. However, when the humans who were refereeing the game huddled for a little conference to discuss the play, they broke the huddle, picked up the flag, and on went the game. I've never seen this happen in a game before. I damn near had a baby. Where was the replay? Where was the worth review? Was it because the Cowboys brand is known to be bigger than the Lions brand? I won't regress. However, my point is, if we have the technology to validate the outcome of a play, point, or violation, why is it at times neglected or not used properly? A line judge leaving his chair at the French Open to check a ball mark in the dirt seems archaic to me. Then the announcer corrects the call, verified by an electronic eye. Well, if using the electronic eye, why does the judge need to leave the seat to check a mark in the dirt? Anyways, we're moving towards more technology to validate significant happenings in these games of sports, and this is where I straddle the line and try not to sound semi-hypocritical. But I don't want all the humans refereeing the games to be eliminated. Sometimes the human element is part of the game and something analytics can never verify. We call this the subjective part of the game. It's why refs put away the whistle as much as possible in the last 10 minutes of a tied playoff hockey game. It's why refs keep their flags in their pockets in the deciding moments of a tight football game. It's why referees swallow their whistles in the late stages of a close battled basketball game. Have you not heard the fans cry, "Let them play"? The thing is, I believe there is enough challenges and booth reviews in all sports which should validate a goal, a play, or a violation. The problem is the distribution of said challenges, how the delay affect the flow of the game, and after an extended review, they still get the call wrong. With that being said, I don't want robotic umpires. However, the MLB got it right in dismissing Mr. Angel Hernandez. Let me end on this note. I often wonder how much money changed hands as a result of a botched call. Calls were were made or charged without replay reviews or call to a booth or without legalized gambling. I remember my uncles furiously fighting over Franco Harris's immaculate reception. No camera can verify to this day whether the ball hit the ground, and my uncle's points of views were based on whether they bet on the Steelers or the Raiders. Catch my drift? More baseball players were suspended for gambling on games. One player banned for life, which is correct. The realization is maybe legalized gambling has kept botch calls above board. Or has it? The billions of dollars bet on games should not be affected by the humans refereeing the game. Go to the booth, get it straight. However, has it ever occurred to you that people in the replay booth may have a connection to a gambling enterprise? Maybe a bet on a said game? Mistakes happen. The games are now legal to be bet on. Haven't we all watched The Wizard of Oz? I believe in leprechauns riding unicorns before I believe in a line judge calling a mark in the dirt. Until that kind of stuff changes, I'll always be looking for the man behind the curtain.
And that's the gospel according to Cruz.
100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what are you up to for the rest of the day?
I'm hopefully going to be taking my wife out for dinner, hoping that Stanley doesn't get off the leash. I have a couple of things to prepare, which I haven't got done, a series of things that's going to blow your mind that are coming up. But mostly I'm trying to tunnel the day till I get to the point where I have the Memorial third round on one TV and the NHL Finals on another screen.
There we go.
And you know the man cave. I'll be good. I might be going out to watch the game, but I'm not sure. Serge and
Where,
the boys.
State Maine, or?
Well, I'm not sure. A few of the guys have showed out. So, Serge, if you're listening, Wade, Jerry, if we're all going to get together for the game, that's good. What's your day plan like?
Gonna go home, edit this, watch qualifying.
Oh,
and then,
yes, the
I'm getting together
qualifying
with a few of the boys. We're going over to Marco's place. Me, Rob, Stefan, Massimo. If you decide to show up, you'll be there too. Should be a good time.
Okay,
I'll
so
go for the Oilers.
Okay, so that's a good thing. We're all going for the Oilers. But there's one thing I got to ask you because I keep talking about her and it seems to be life is good. I keep forgetting your girlfriend's name.
Radhika.
What a cool name. Radhika, hi, I'm Cruz. How you doing? We're just giving you a shout out because we don't forget the women, especially my loving wife, Gail O'Donnell, busy, pushy, and stubborn as she is. You know how that works.
We love you, Gail.
We love you 100%. Best friend on the planet. That's what you got to look at it. And I bet you your parents, even though they're married, they're the best of friends.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to work. That's a good note to end it on, don't you think?
I absolutely 100% agree.
Now, we may be changing a little bit of the recording time in the next couple of weeks because we actually have lives.
Yeah, we're going to be giving you some early shows the next few weeks, but, I mean, you can't spin that as a bad thing. And then we're going to get some pre-recorded shows soon. One of them, we're going to do a 2003 NHL redraft.
I can't wait.
And we're going to do our greatest Blue Jays of all time. It's going to be a full 26-man roster, not just a flimsy starting lineup or anything like that.
Thank you.
A few others in the works, but those are the two that are for the furthest ahead, and I cannot wait.
Me too. It's been great. Another outstanding show. Milani's a great producer, people. I'm lucky to be into his company. Anything else you'd like to say?
That's about it.
Alrighty, so my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And you know what we do? We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.